Okay, the channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on so many levels. We're going to play 5th season role-playing in the Stillness.
Dun dun dun. Dun.
I'm Christiana Ellis. I'm joined tonight by Paul Weimer,
Hi.
Nobilis,
Hi there.
Dove Archambault,
Hello.
and Lee Burdett.
Hey.
So we are short of the players needed to play either our Masks or our Daggerheart game this week. So we thought we'd take a look at one of the other of the multitude of role-playing games we have available to us these days. And this one is one that I backed on Kickstarter a while ago. It's just worth noting that it was a while ago, not because I think of it, I'm not trying to blame anybody, but they had one trial after another trying to get this thing to its final state, to the point where some of the the book opens with a couple of brief statements talking about it.
Yeah, they had
Yeah, they went through it.
they had their seasons.
And it's not just the people who are, were creating the content for the book, but like Green Ronin Press is having a whole thing with, Diamond Publishing is trying to screw everything up. And so, lots and lots of problems unrelated to the already difficult work of creating a tabletop role-playing game. But look at this. Here we go. At least if you're a backer, you now have access to this full PDF, which is what we're looking at tonight. I was a backer, and so here we are. Now, what is 5th season and the Stillness? What is that all about? Well, if you are not already familiar, there is a trilogy of books by N.K. Jemisin, I believe known as the Broken Earth Trilogy, the first book of which is called The 5th Season. And so this is a tabletop role-playing game set in that setting. A couple of the broad points that we could say, what's going on in this setting that we would want to know about. Well, it takes place in a distant future where Father Earth hates humans and keeps trying to kill them all. And whether that is literally a spiritual intelligence within the earth acting out conscious will, or whether it's just sort of the way the science feels these days, is up for debate within the setting. But regardless, it has been really hard to live as a human society for quite some time in this setting, to the point where it has become almost a religion in and of itself, the way that you prepare for surviving a devastating geological cataclysm. So things like how much food and what kinds of food do you need to have stored per number of people in your community? How do you organize your community? How do you build certain things that will last given these things? These have all become religious doctrine known as stone lore, because humanity at this point in the, at the time period that we would be talking about, has had to go through multiple apocalypses, basically.
It's basically simultaneously a pre-apocalyptic, apocalyptic, and post-apocalyptic setting.
Yes.
Yep.
So it is basically this setting is something like 5 apocalypses removed from anything we would recognize, but with the constant and indefinite understanding that another one is going to come eventually. And so that's why everyone is always, you're trying to live your life, but you're also trying to make sure that humanity doesn't go extinct the next time you get a 5th season. That's what
or just and you do that by making sure that your community doesn't go extinct.
Yeah. So the title 5th season refers not to like, oh, the fifth apocalypse, but rather, you know, spring, summer, fall, winter, and apocalypse, basically. So they call it a season when something happens that's so big that for some, like, you know, for example, there is in this book the like the list of the different seasons that they've gone through.
The
And they call them like
historical, apocryphal, and not and probably never happened.
yeah, and so like there's but basically a lot of them all revolve around like terrifyingly dangerous earthquakes, which can, of course, then produce things like, you know, pyroclastic flows or clouds of choking gas or all of these sorts of things. And so people have had to survive all of this. Now, there's a couple of other pieces of lore that all play into this and make it a little bit more fantastical, which is to say, everyone, to some degree or another, has the ability as a new sense to kind of sense geological seismic activity. Some have much more of that sense than others, but everyone is supposed to have had it to at least some degree, but some people are very, very good at it. Also, there are certain individuals known as orogenes who have basically geological superpowers, where they can cause and or stop earthquakes. They can do radical energy manipulation, which often is terrifying because the most easily expressed way for it to happen is for them to accidentally freeze solid everything within 30 feet of them. So that is why orogenes basically are either individuals who are kept on an extremely tight leash, raised in extremely strict circumstances, and live very controlled lives, or they are terrifying monsters where stone lore says basically to kill them on sight. Because they can, whether they even want to or not, accidentally kill dozens of people at a time. Now, you know, like, they also, if they know what they're doing, could probably survive without anybody even knowing they're an orogene for decades. But
yeah. There's part of the first book actually has that happen.
Well, yes. So like the books are like all about this stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's also guardians who are basically like, they're kind of almost the other side of the orogene coin, in the sense that they have like powers that make them sort of stronger, faster, more robust and everything. But they're like, their big power is that they can nullify an orogene's power. Like, if just by being present, they can make an orogene unable to use their power. And so they are essentially the way the society controls orogenes. And then there's also stone eaters, who are basically like living elemental people who are very mysterious and do all sorts of things. And lots of crazy like monsters and strange adapted animals and all of that sort of thing. So that is kind of the high level basic points of what the Stillness is. When we say 5th season role-playing in the Stillness, the idea is there's this trilogy of books set in this setting. It has a great big epic story that's very good. I recommend them. I think they're good. But this game is basically like, if you like those books so much that you want to spend more time in this setting, that is what this game is for. So, with all of that, I kind of laid all of that out with kind of the assumption, like, or you know, with the assumption that at least some folks might not really know anything about these books. But where does everybody else kind of stand on them right now? Have you read them?
I've read the first one.
Okay.
I've read the entire trilogy. Well, actually, I listened to the audiobooks of the entire trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a little while, but it's still stuck in my brain. And that series is like in my top 3 series of all time.
It is
I don't ask me to rank it against the Imperial Reich books. I won't be.
It's the only trilogy to all 3 books won the Hugo Award. Bam, bam, bam. They're that good. And I love them.
They're great.
I've never heard of them before in my life, but I did go buy the first book on Audible. So
all right, nice.
on this stellar recommendation. So I'll see if I like them after this.
I did also listen to the audiobooks, so I can vouch for them being good as audiobooks.
I should add, the best use of second-person narration I have ever.
Oh yes.
Across.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting POV stuff in these books, and it's worth noting in this PDF that it explicitly talks about. So the books are really kind of like all about the big epic adventures of Origins and Guardians and Stone Eaters, and the high level, like, most important stuff in the world happening is what those books are following. This game kind of explicitly is saying most of what this game is not that.
This is
Yeah, the only sort of like ordinary character option that has anything to do with any of that stuff that you can pick in this is basically saying having some latent low-level orogeny powers. However, at the end of the book, there's a whole appendix that is basically like, but if you want to have an adventure that's the epic level stuff like in those books, here's some alternate options that you can use. But the main game stuff is really, the intention is to be more like you are going to role play as more or less ordinary people living and trying to survive in a comm. And in particular, even to take that character option where you have low-level latent orogeny powers, explicitly says you need the GM's consent to even choose that. But I also note that Triffid Mats in the chat says, played a one-shot of the 5th season a year or so ago. It was really interesting. Definitely the most low-level game I've ever played, but still very high stakes. Someone stole some farming tools, so we were afraid some of the village might starve to death.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, in any case, we've got, that's kind of the basics of what is the 5th season even. And so let's now take a look at the book here. Obviously, we got an elaborate table of contents here, and I think if you're a fan of the books, I think it would be actually kind of, this is an interesting game, just even as like the sorts of like lore books, that coffee table books you can buy about stuff.
Right.
Like about the seasons and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it collects together a bunch of stuff that's either just mentioned in the books or things like that, and really fleshes everything out. If you just take if all you wanted was 5th season lore, this book would be worth it just for that.
It's a lot of lore. So for example, if we just look at this whole first section, the Stillness, chapter 1, Lands of the Stillness, is just like all about the whole little continent we've got, and there's a map. And the different sort of regional communities. Chapter 2 is all about community life. What does it mean to live in a comm? What are sort of the use castes and how they organize that? What is stone lore? Some of those sorts of things. And then chapter 3 is all about seasons and what past seasons had been, and how you plan around them and what sorts of changes they might make. And all of that, that's like 68 pages. That's just world building, setting, detail stuff. We might skim through a little bit of that. But probably we're going to spend more time today on this next section, players section, which is going to have the game basics of how the system works, how you make your own comm, and then making characters and choosing character traits and so on. There's also game moderators section. Obviously, we probably won't spend as much time on that tonight. And then we might also look briefly in the appendix here. Orogeny Ascendant, that's the bit that I mentioned earlier, where if you want to make a character that is more powerful with the orogeny, it has a whole set of rules just for that. But I think it is interesting that the game explicitly makes that separate, indicating like that's a different style of play. It's not just an option that you can maybe use like adding a class to D&D. It's saying this is almost even a different game that you could also play in this setting. And then, of course, at the very end, it has the character sheets and comm sheets and so on, which you know what? I didn't actually look to see if those might be available as form-fillable separate PDFs on the website. I didn't double check that. Right now, I only have them here in the whole book PDF.
Mm-hmm.
So probably we're not going to really be necessarily filling those out explicitly this time. But what I would say is for all of you to kind of take your own notes with these setups in mind, if that makes any sense. Okay, so that's kind of the table of contents. I figure we could next, as I mentioned, sort of skim through this first section all about the stillness. Kind of maybe just look at the art and just some of the high-level bullet points, so to speak. Yeah? Yes?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like this is, I'm not the game master this time. We're just doing this together. So definitely, if I am open to any suggestions otherwise. But yeah, so as I mentioned, Father Earth. You know, since the first and worst fifth season, The Shattering, Father Earth has been humanity's deadliest foe. No one remembers. Well, this is, never mind. I'm actually going to skip that because if you haven't.
Oh, that's a spoiler.
That's a
Yeah.
huge spoiler.
Oh yeah. There is one other detail that is revealed in the first book that is not revealed in here. The nature of the nodes. At least not in any section I read.
Yeah, well, I think, certainly there are details that... so it's worth noting, if you have not read the books, this does have tons of stuff that ultimately is spoilers. But oddly, as Dove has just mentioned, there are some things that it is specifically not spoiling. For example, the node network, we've got a section on it right here, where it basically just says, Fulcrum keeps the nature of the node network a closely guarded secret. So we've got a cool map here. I do have a separate PDF that's just the map that obviously we would probably make use of if we were going to go on to play more of an adventure here. But it gives you just a sense of the regions. Worth noting, in this setting, this is a supercontinent that is what remains of all of the pre-existing continents, meaning the world has been reshaped so dramatically that this is the only continent that remains, and it is basically the other continents mushed together.
And changed so much that they only talk about 2 tectonic plates, which is significant.
Yeah. So, as mentioned, so there's like Father Earth, as I mentioned, some people think that it's literally like a god figure that is consciously making these decisions. And some people just say, well, sure feels like that, huh? But, think that it's actually science. And, like the settings, like the books' opinion on that is, is like, well, depends on who you ask. But there's a lot of interesting stuff. For one, dead civs, meaning this world has been through so many of these multiple apocalypse scenarios that finding ruins of a previous civilization, like there's like, you talk about what sorts of adventures you could have in a game like this. There's lots of those.
Yep. And people generally speaking, don't recommend going and exploring those because those civilizations died for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically because as we were talking about this whole idea of it becoming religious doctrine, how to survive a season. By definition, if you find the remnants of a civilization that didn't survive, clearly they did something wrong. what could you learn from them? They didn't do it right, you know? And so there's a degree to which it's almost, you know, it's like they're shunned, they're to be ignored. Not to mention they could also be just like literally dangerous.
Yeah. And you can release something nasty. And,
yes.
Yeah.
Right. So Fulcrum is the basically, you know, it's I was about to say the closest thing to central government, but I mean, it is basically, there's nothing else that would even be remotely like a government for everything. But it is certainly everything is so far apart and small that most people really only ever deal with their own comm. Except maybe you've got some merchants who travel to other comms, and occasionally stuff like that will come up. However, Fulcrum is very important because there are these central cities of Humanus, which is this right in the center here, because they are where most origins, like if you discover that a little kid is an origin, they are sent off to Fulcrum, and that is where they will be trained to become a legally controlled origin. And what they do there is, for the good of everybody, is they stop earthquakes from happening. And they're like, it's not that earthquakes never happen anymore. It's that they don't now happen constantly all the time everywhere. So it's,
they also do occasionally do big like geoengineering projects.
yes.
There's one in the books where a harbor needed to be cleared out so that ships could come in and go, and they had an origin into that.
There's some great artwork a little bit later that just shows the level of kind of construction they can do when you have people who have basically like earth-bending superpowers. But so you've also got high roads, which are basically created by these same means, the controlled origins that are placed specifically on locations that were or have been made, quote unquote, permanently stable. So they're basically giant elevated superhighways that run in various places. All these black dotted lines are high roads. And so they are like pretty traversable, pretty safe. But they are where they are, and no, like, you can't just have one anywhere. They are where they are. Oh yeah, so this is actually one of the bits of artwork that I was talking about here. Like, look at all of these little, you know, slum buildings on the outside of this just incredible, like, ziggurat, you know, behemoth looking thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, some of the high roads here you can see leading into them, that these things are just like towering above the ground. And so, like, a lot of the rest of this section is just talking about, like, the various differences between, you know, different regions, and, you know, the equatorial comms versus the mid-lats or the no mid-lats, and so on and so on. And yeah, so we got a lot of that. So there's just a lot of sort of material here that, like, if we were to make a comm in one of these regions, we would probably want to be looking at this section to kind of say, well, what are comms in this section like? Or skimming through this in order to maybe decide where you would want it to be. And then just lots of nice, fun artwork through all of this. Yeah. Oh, here's one thing that I didn't even mention. If you notice in this artwork how there's just this gargantuan floating crystal, that's also just a thing in this setting. Yeah. There's a bunch of them, and nobody like it's another one of those things where it's kind of like, what are they and what do they do exactly? Well, depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
Yes, the books, however, are kind of all about that. But that's a good point. I had kind of even forgotten to mention them until I saw the picture of one. I was like, oh yeah, that was also a thing. Okay, so comm life, here's what I was mentioning, like stone lore. And one of the things that's interesting is that it has like tablet 1 is just like literally how to survive. And then tablet 2, every copy you will ever find is heavily redacted and all in the same way. Meaning, at some point, whoever had that project to redact them all was extremely thorough. But it means that you have a lot of weird things that kind of need to be interpreted. Like, for example, verse 6, seek the retrograde obscured word in the southern sky when it grows larger, comma, obscured word. So, like, what is it telling you to watch for, and what are you supposed to do when you see it? Well, you have to interpret it. Yeah, and so, like, we talked about the origins. Like, seek the origin in its crib, watch for the center of the circle. There you will find obscured word. And so it's like, it definitely tells you to try to identify origins earlier. And it tells you that you can probably find, because if you see, for example, a circle of ice, you know that whatever at the center of that circle is what made it. But then what are you actually supposed to do with them? Well, you know, the current interpretation is that you either kill them or if possible, send them off to Fulcrum. But in any case, and then this was also where I mentioned everyone has kind of these ability to sense seismic data, and it's called sessing when people do that. And you have sesapine, which are just a little bit of like a little brain function organ where you can kind of sense stuff. And some people are better at it than others. Generally speaking, if you're an origin, you're extremely good at it, but that's not limited only to origins. Use casts is another big thing in these comms, is that it is very much the sort of thing where in this setting it's decided usually by family lines, like which role are you going to have in this community? And whatever that one is, it literally becomes part of your name and it is non-negotiable. That is what you do. So for example, breeder is one, innovator, leader, resistant, strong backs. Yeah. And so all of these have different sort of functions in the community, and it is, again, a very extremely regimented thing. Obviously, people are people and are going to occasionally you're going to have individuals who don't fit neatly into one of those others, but it doesn't. This is not determinative, meaning if you are growing up in a strong back family within a comm, that does not automatically mean you are going to be physically strong, but it means it's your job to do strong back things. And you might not be good at it, but that does not mean you get to be some other caste instead. I think
it is possible, like if you're born into a strong back, but you have the traits to be an innovator, you can actually petition to change that.
But it's going to basically be dependent on your comm, how open it is to that sort of.
Yeah. How open it is to it, and also how much need of it. You know, if our 25-person comm already has 5 innovators,
we don't
probably
need more
not.
of those. Yeah.
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 Unless you can find somebody to swap with.
Yeah. And then Origins here, and we've got this cool guy here in his official Origin uniform. If you go through the Fulcrum training program and you are an official legal Origin, you have to wear a special uniform because you're not allowed to present yourself as an ordinary human being. Basically, it is like in this setting, what everybody knows is that Origins are monsters. However, under certain circumstances, they can be tamed and controlled, and sometimes even treated nicely. And so we talk more about stuff of just different things, how the different laws can work. A lot of it is, there is some degree of there can be variety. That's kind of one of the whole bits in this setting of like you can make your own comm. Is you're going to decide like, well, what is your comm good at? Like, what are you known for? What sort of resources do you have where you are, and that sort of thing. I think this is a cool bit of artwork. I think right here, just got lava caverns, some sort of ancient ruin, and then just changing in a streetlight. And then it talks here about some of the strange things about the setting, strangeness. Creatures of the Stillness, they're the stone eaters that I mentioned. There's the obelisks that I mentioned. See, hovering in the sky, fading in and out from view as if surrounded by invisible clouds, giant obelisks of varying shapes, colors, and sizes float high above. No two are alike, but all are huge, bigger than any comm, made of a kind of crystal or stone, cut in geometric angles. Yeah, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, since the sky is rarely an active threat, the obelisks often go unnoticed, but they always seem to appear when a tremor, boil, or origin erupts. And then seasons, it talks about like some of the known historical ones and also what kinds of things can happen. And some of the, the history of it, because for example, one of the other things in the setting is that there was at a previous time a big like empire, continent spanning empire that has basically been smashed to pieces by the repeated seasons. And so like there's kind of like remnants of it here and there, but it's certainly not like a going concern in any other meaningful way other than you find kind of pieces of it just here and there. All right. Any questions about any of that stuff, or are we ready to jump into game mechanics?
I think we're ready to jump in.
All right.
Yeah.
So this is a system that is, like I am excited by a lot. So several new TTRPGs just put out their full PDF recently. And all of them have a non-D20 system, which I think is kind of interesting that everyone's kind of willing to let just, D&D can have it. D&D, the D20 is D&D's thing. They can have it, and we don't need to use it. It's also like, I think statistically there's some interesting conversations to be had about what a D20 does versus other kinds of systems. We don't need to get too much into that. I like this picture, though, with the dice kind of like completing the arch of the portal there.
Yeah.
But what this system does with an ability test is you're rolling 3d6. And it's notable that of those three, one of the three dice is a different color, and it is the drama die. But you roll 3d6, you add them all together, and you add your ability score, and then you add a +2 if you are using an applicable ability focus, which we'll obviously talk more about. What the drama die does is, let's say you're trying to get a 12, and you rolled 3d6, and you got 13, but the drama die was only a 1. That means in the fiction, you succeeded, but only barely. You're not doing it based on, you were only just above 12. Anything above 12 is a success, but the drama die tells you, like, the flavor of it. And so that means that it is used to measure degrees of success or failure, to break ties, and to generate stunt points, which are kind of fun. Basically, they just give you... stunt points are sort of a same turn thing that just lets you be a little fancier, do a little bit extra. And so that's some fun stuff there. So basically that's the prime mechanic here. For stunts, there's a difference between accomplishing something with a test and really accomplishing it with style. That difference comes to play in the AGE system with stunts. When you roll dice for a test and 2 or more of the dice show the same number, that test generates stunt points, SP. If the test is successful, you can use these points to enhance the results, pulling off some special maneuver, trick, or flourish beyond just the benefits of success. In fact, you must spend them on that test or they disappear. So, like, you can't save them. You can't hold on to them. They are for whatever action you took to generate them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and then let's see. There, you also have a resource called Fortune, which represents a measure of survival instinct, good fortune, determination, pure luck, whatever you want to call it. You start off with a certain amount of fortune, which improves with experience as you become more and more important. And you have fortune points. So bearing in mind, I've skimmed through all of this, but I have not read all of it carefully. So bear with me if some of this is a little bit reedy. You can also spend fortune points to mitigate the effects of damage, to avoid injuries, wounds, and other potential conditions caused by damage, at least until your luck runs out.
Okay.
When you are at 0 fortune, you are vulnerable, and many attacks and hazards can injure, wound, or even kill your character outright. You can take breathers.
This is interesting. They're making D&D hit points kind of into what it always was intended to be, which was you don't get badly hurt until the resource is gone. So the fortune points are kind of your hit points because you won't get hurt as long as you've got some left.
Yeah. So and so I've always had kind of a complex feeling about that approach in D&D, because I can understand the argument in favor of that idea, but at least in D&D, it no-sells half the stuff you do.
Right. It's incongruent.
Yes.
In a way.
So, for example, if this idea is your hit points actually just represent your ability to avoid taking damage right up until you are just so exhausted that something just immediately takes you down. And I'm saying, I shoot you with firebolt, and you're saying you're just dodging it until you're too tired to dodge it?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you, anyway. But we're playing this game instead. Breathers. So breather, you when you take a moment to recoup, take a short break, you can regain 1d6 plus Constitution plus level of fortune up to the usual fortune maximum. So yeah, it is kind of like hit points in that way. And then if you rest, you can recover the maximum. Temporary fortune. Basic tests, simple tests, opposed tests. So, we have various, rules for like how to do those sorts of things. Just the basic thresholds, you can see here that since you're rolling 3d6 and the adding, whatever modifiers you have, an easy challenge would be to get 6, average 12, challenging 18, hard 24. Formidable, certainly, you're going to have to be like, you have to imagine like, you would already have to be really strong in order to manage that. And then you can get consequences depending on the difficulty and success threshold, meaning like, did you only just barely make it, or were you, overwhelmingly successful? We have a level of conditions here. Blinded, defenseless, dying, fatigued, helpless, hindered. And it looks like a lot of these are still pretty, like, loose. Meaning, like, hindered, your ability to act is limited. You lose your minor action on your turn, so you can only take a major action or a minor action, swapping your major action for a minor one on your turn. But then impaired characters is at a penalty usually -1 to -3 to ability tests. And so it's like, well, is it -1 or is it -3? Well, it's circumstantial. It probably depends on what it is that's making you impaired, right?
And I see recovery based on circumstance. So yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
loosey goosey.
So a lot of these are that. And so the basic idea there is it's a little bit like in Daggerheart, where there's a lot of the things where it can be happening to you, but only until you kind of take any action to stop it. All right, and then timekeeping. There's like seasonal time, 3-month segments, narrative time, action time, and all of this is pretty standard TTRPG stuff. Meaning, you know, when you get into combat, you track time differently than when you're just hanging out. All right, comm creation. Yeah, so the center of life in Stillness is the comm, and people understand that the comm is life in many ways. The commless, people without a comm, are ultimately doomed to be scavengers and raiders at best, and to quickly perish when a 5th season comes. That is when the fabric of a comm is the most strongly tested, and comms that fail do not survive. Thus, people are raised in the Stillness to find their place within the comm and do their part to help keep it strong for everyone's well-being. Threats to the comm are taken seriously, and punishments can be harsh in order to ensure the safety and security of all are protected. And so, like, that's, you know, it's worth noting that it isn't quite the same as just any D&D setting where you have like a small village, right? It is specifically a comm that's been built in a place where it is believed they have at least some capability of surviving tremendous geological upheaval. It is protected, and they don't just let anyone in because they take it very seriously that, like, this stranger sure seems nice, but lots of people have the ability to act nice for a couple of days and then turn on you. You know, yep. So it doesn't mean that, you know, and so there's a degree of harshness that is applied based on this idea that everyone has this built-in understanding that almost every decision that you make in a day has an underpinning of, will this help us survive a 5th season? You have the comm is abstract. So looks like the process of creating the comm uses the following series of steps. Concept. Group comes up with an initial concept of the comm, where it is and what it is like. 2 is traits. The group assigns points to the comm's primary traits. The group then assigns 2 starting focuses to those traits. Then qualities. The group fills in details about what the comm is like, what's nearby, and so forth. The year before, the group plays through a year of the comm's life prior to creating the player characters using the rules in Chapter 8 gameplay. All right, is everyone ready to build a comm?
Build a comm.
Yeah, this sounds interesting.
Okay, so like the example name for a comm that they offer here is Nuveen. Obviously, we can name it whatever we like. We can also wait to name it until we know more about what it's like. But the basic idea is, you know, the Stillness is vast and has many different regions, each with its own character, climate, and types of comms, as well as proximity to and relationship with the Empire. Ideally, the group should familiarize themselves with the information in the Lands of the Stillness chapter. So feel free to like flip back and look through that if you have an idea for like what region you would want to be in, what kind of comm you want it to be like. For example, it's sufficient to say a comm in the Nomadlats, probably north of the Tufa Mountains, possibly near a river. Even that narrows the field of possibilities considerably and offers some direction to the comm creation process. The comm's concept can help to direct further decisions about the comm and its traits, people, and qualities.
Mm-hmm.
But those things can also affect and change the comm's concepts as they develop. Feel free to modify the concept throughout the process, right up until the group decides on the final details. So let's, I think we can all kind of flip back through that first chapter, the Lands of the Stillness. So we've got the map here just to talk about like what region we would be in. And it's worth noting here that the ones that have an actual like symbol and a name on this map, the implication is like those are bigger ones, right? We could potentially make and have be a bigger one, but the actual reality is that there are lots and lots and lots of smaller ones that would be too small to be on this map at this scale. And so more likely we would be making one of those. So, but that said, they're all over the place, so we can decide kind of where we want it to be. Does anyone have any initial thoughts on that? I can also kind of vamp reading stuff while people also do their own reading if people don't have ideas right away.
Well, what my what caught my eye was the Great Eastern Forest, and that just seems like an interesting place to
calm. Yeah.
put a calm.
So
I was
Okay.
I was actually looking at the other side of the map where you've got multiple rivers coming together and some near the mountains and like right up above Dichna? Is that it?
Mhm.
So you've got like
There's a bunch of lakes and some
there's a
rivers
bunch of
and
lakes and
trees,
rivers and
mountains,
trees
yeah.
and mountains, and that seems to be very resource heavy. So, and it's also got one of those imperial highways running through it. So I was thinking maybe somewhere around in there would be a good idea.
Wait, where was that you said?
On the left side of the map, up above
South of
Dinja.
Amand.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let's read a little bit about those two
That would
areas
be
and see
Eastern or
if that
Western
helps
Coastal.
us. Yes. Yeah, those would be Western Coastal for that region. And then Great Eastern Forest is basically mostly in the equatorial comms area, but also partly, depending on how far into it you go, you might be part of the Eastern Coastal as well. So the Great Eastern Forest, occupying just over 1 million square miles, the Great Eastern Forest would be impassable if it weren't for the Imperial Origins who flattened a 1,200-mile path through the forest's heart, and the Sanzid-Janiers who constructed the Yumenes Aliyah High Road. A handful of bucolic comms lie within the tree line, almost all of which lie near the high road's turnoffs. The road's node network helps to protect them from tectonic dangers, while the forest's fertile soil and abundant wildlife make farming and hunting easy for these comms. Some comms focus on logging, chopping down trees to sell as lumber to equatorial comms and East Coaster shipwrights. Despite the centuries of logging along the Great Eastern Forest borders, the forest remains virtually unchanged. Because of this, few know how much of the forest's interior. Few know much of the forest's interior, though speculation runs rampant. Many claim dead civs lie hidden within the trees, though none have produced useful maps or more than a few trinkets from bygone eras. Nevertheless, the possibility of uncovering a wealth of forgotten history and technology persists. That reminds me of the map is not the territory stuff and things. That's not just from Wise Man's Fear, is it? I know there's a whole bit in Wise Man's Fear about that. I don't remember if it's also from something else. So let's look at what the Western coastal ones would be. The Eastern coastals and Western coastals, the node network doesn't extend to the coastals, so they're notoriously unstable with shifting earth and storm-ridden seas. With such hazards, only the foolish or destitute live in coaster comms, leading to the coastal's reputation as the backwater of the Stillness. Despite the perils, many stubborn coasters continue battling Father Earth for their survival, with some comms prospering in spite of their circumstances. Let's see, I'm just looking through.
I went and looked it up. The map is not the territory is a philosophical idea very much related to that painting that's titled "This Is Not a Pipe."
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
I was thinking of it specifically in the context that it's used in Wise Man's Fear, where it's just talking about how we just heard that whole description of the forest, right? But
Mhm.
looking at this map, which is a very high level map, you can look at that region and say, oh, yeah, that's the Great Eastern Forest. That's where the forest is. But as we read that paragraph, it's like even the people who live there don't really know what's actually in the forest. So you can draw a
Yeah.
line around it on a map, but that doesn't actually tell you what's inside that line.
I like that idea a lot.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
well, no, I mean we can look more at the
Well,
coastals. I
let's
wasn't
look at the west. Let's at the
Yeah,
yeah.
I was just talking about that because I like that idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, Patrick Rothfuss can do whatever he wants. But I'll read that third book when it comes out if it does. Okay, where were we? The coastals. So the terrain and features. The eastern boundary of the western coastals is rarely more than a few hundred miles from the sea. The maximal plate's western boundaries lie parallel to the western coastals, which is the largest cause of the region's notoriously tumultuous weather.
Oh boy.
Similarly, the hot spots off the coast of the eastern coastals, we don't need to worry about those. We're not looking at them. Both of the coastals have hills and mountains woven through their lands. The rocky terrain provides some shelter from the weather, though it also hides volcanic vents, making life in the coastals a constant struggle to balance one risk against another. Fortunately, Father Earth's torment also comes with vast amounts of soil-enriching minerals, making the ground here quite fertile. Talks about different skin tones and so on with the people who live there. We can get into that more if we're making characters there potentially. The ocean and beyond, it just talks about the people of the Stillness do not sail into deep waters. It is basically, there's some of the ones like really close to the coast actually do have like ships that will sail up and down the coast, but nobody's going just out into the ocean because it's like, why? What's out there? Death is probably what's out there.
Yeah.
But-
How many ships does it take sailing off to find out what's there that never come back before you just say, you know what? Just not worth it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So, let's see. There was of those few have the marble to board a ship and find out, and of those few, almost none have the resources to fund an oceanic expedition, especially since no sailor would take the job without an advance payment large enough to take care of their family for years.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, you don't want to take a job where you're likely to die if you can't take care of your family for several years.
Right. So, coastal comm seeds, groups who wish to create a comm based on the coast might use any of the following as an inspiration. An extremely small comm, more of a collection of stilted huts over the water. They survive mainly off fishing and scavenging what the ocean washes ashore. Or an upstart comm that has survived one season. Its primary export are mercenaries, and life in this comm is based on strength and cunning. A comm known for having the best shipwrights, this comm thrives from larger comms contracting them to build boats for trade. Perhaps this comm is one of the few that invest in maritime exploration and technology. And then, so based on those two descriptions, do we have votes for one or the other of those regions?
Well, I think if we, I mean, the forests would be great, but also that area with all the lakes and rivers just says something to me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with either one. If folks have
it seems like the forest is much more much more land of plenty, except for the deepest storage forest, and life on the coast is much more marginal, much harsher.
Yeah.
I'm kind of driving towards that.
Okay. Well, one of the things I was going to say is one of the interesting things about the forest just in general is like there's the difference between, these light orange ones here, which are the equatorial on the map, are on one side of the forest, and on the other side of the forest is the eastern coastal comms. So depending on where you are in the forest, it could potentially be interesting to be kind of at the boundary between the rich big cities and the backwater.
I was gonna about to suggest something like that.
Yeah.
Look at the spot to the east of Palestine. Kind of zoom in on the east of Palestine. There's a spot where the high road comes fairly close to that big bay, like just south of the letter LE in Palestine.
Yeah.
So imagine a comm that's there. It's in the forest, because that eastern forest is like, all over that area.
Yeah.
Has access to both the highway and the water. And so that idea of shipbuilding comm really kind of gelled for me as and it's historically it's been a shipbuilding comm. But
honestly, I could see like it talks about people that actually develop ocean technology and such. Since it's kind of a bay, like it's it's
Right.
not open ocean.
Yeah, it's maybe not quite as dangerous as
yeah. So like
open
they're
ocean.
able to develop some techniques for actual ocean travel.
Yeah, there's a lot more flexibility to have comms kind of all along those coastal areas that are all kind of reachable by sailing across this big,
Yeah, and
does it count as a bay if it's hundreds of miles across?
I think it becomes a gulf at some point.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a gulf.
No, we can name it whatever we like.
We can, the comm can call it a gulf.
Yeah. So, how are people feeling? Is sounds like that's maybe the winner.
I'll go with that.
I like
Okay.
that.
Okay, great. So, who wants to sort of like codify the concept? Like, obviously, we can change it, we can refine it, but let's try to have it as a sentence the way the example did in that later chapter.
Refresh my memory, because I'm not looking at that later chapter.
Yeah,
as to
I'm pulling it back
structured.
up here. I could have looked up what the actual. There we go. So the example concept they have is a comm in the Nomadlats, probably north of the Tufa Mountains, probably near a river.
Okay.
So it doesn't need a whole lot. But obviously if there are things that we know and are excited by about it, we can include those in the concept.
Yeah,
Okay,
I wrote down coastal comm east of Palestine, where the best shipbuilders ... That's as far as I got writing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So, does anybody want to add to that?
I was going to say where
do we want to have a
stolid
shared... Oh, yeah.
Where stolid shipbuilders and innovative traders vie to define the comms future. That's the idea that I had.
I'm going to make a shared Google Doc that everybody can access to just so that we can like put comm stuff notes together in this. Is that okay with everybody?
Sure.
Yeah,
sounds
sure.
great to me.
Yeah. All right. Let me pop that link in the put it in the Zoom chat. If anyone can't get it there, let me know and I can get it to you another way. But so with the concept set, next is traits. Like characters in 5th season role-playing, comms have particular traits that define them, describing areas where a comm is strong or weak, fortunate or unfortunate. The primary comm traits are related to 5 of the primary common use casts of people in the Stillness. Strength for the Strongback cast, a combination of the comm's ability to perform physical labor and their military might in fielding soldiers. Resistance, resistant cast. The com's ability to withstand disease, starvation, and related challenges, both due to the presence of a strong resistant cast and their skills in caring for others. I'm seeing a sad face. Okay, well,
Yeah.
you guys just don't do that. Just tell me, so because otherwise,
Yeah.
if I'm not looking,
I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't want to
Okay.
interrupt. We don't have edit access.
Yes. Okay. Well, I will fix that. It is annoying that it makes me have to click 5 different things in order to make that happen. It should work now.
Okay.
If you're on the document, that you should have edit access. You might need to reload it or something.
We do.
Okay.
You reload it and you do.
Yeah. Okay. So worth noting, we kind of skimmed past it, but the resistant cast, I think, is maybe one of the ones that is not quite as self-evident what that's for. But that's for like like doctors and engineers and such, named for their ability to like food testers for the people who fear assassination, doctors working frantically to care for others, lone survivors of deadly outbreaks, extremely hardy constitutions, rarely becoming ill, and they recover far faster than others. They heal wounds quickly, and their utility. So that's kind of like their deal. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in any case, yeah. So as a comm trait, resistance is one of the traits. And then innovation, the innovator cast, the comm's ability to come up with new solutions and ideas and to practice technical skills. Leadership cast, the quality of the comm's leadership and organization, and the comm's ability to handle matters diplomatically. And resilience, the breeder cast, the comm's resilience and ability to recover from setbacks and losses.
Mm-hmm.
Comm primary traits can have focuses like character abilities, giving the comm a +2 bonus on tests involving that focus. Comms also have 3 secondary traits. Size measures the size of the comm in terms of both actual space and overall population. Mm-hmm. 1 is a settlement or outpost, 2 village, 3 town or district, and 4 city. Anything larger than a city is too big to be considered a comm. Indeed, some larger cities are made up of several smaller-sized comms. The cache is a secondary trait for the comm's stored resources. And then stability. Comm's stability is similar to a character's fortune, measuring the ability to evade and overcome misfortune. So allocating primary traits. We will now do this. So have each player write down the trait they consider the most important, along with a comm trait focus of their choice. We'll see what those are in a moment. So like, we're not doing this yet. We're just reading what the exercise is. Don't do it yet. And then keep them secret. You can use index cards, slips of paper, or something else easily randomized. Then each player will roll 3d6, and the game moderator will list the players in order. For ties, the player with the highest drama die result goes before the tied player with the lower drama die result. If the result is tied, have them roll another die, etc. Start with the highest result first and going down the list. Each player may increase one of the comm's primary traits by 1. No trait may be increased to greater than 3 at this time. If there are more than 8 players, stop after the 8th player has gone. The other players do not increase the comm's traits. The game moderator randomly chooses a number of the players' secretly written traits to bring the comm's total in traits up to 8. Each chosen trait adds +1 to the comm's existing traits and can increase a trait above a 3. So, for example, if 5 players have assigned trait increases, the GM then chooses 3 random secret trait choices. If these choices are innovation, leadership, and resilience, the GM then increases those 3 comm traits by +1 each. And then we would assign focuses, which we'll read about in a second. I think where's the... I see. This is where the focuses are. So, starting with any remaining players not randomly chosen to increase traits, you choose 3 and assign their chosen comm trait focus to the comm. If there are fewer than 3 remaining. So like strength focuses including hunting, might, productivity. Resistance focuses cultivation, survival, treatment, and so on. It has them for all of them. and then determine the secondary traits. So that means that I think everyone. How about this? So I will act as the game master for this exercise because the rule set here suggests that model. So for this initial thing, the preferred trait, I want each of you to send me in chat. Here, let me pop this out. Send private chat to just me of what your preferred one is. So what you're choosing is as which of those traits, strength, resistance, innovation, leadership, resilience, which is the one you think is most important, and then pick one of the focuses for that trait. And then everybody send that to me privately so that it's secret. And then what we'll want is to have everybody roll the 3d6. And because I would say if you have, because, we don't maybe necessarily have everyone with 2 different colors of d6s available right now, you can just sort of decide in advance which, the one that lands furthest to the right is going to be the drama die or something. But decide first so that you get a result where you're going to get a high note. So the what you'll want to tell me when you do it is what's the total and also what was the result of the drama die. Is anyone confused by that? Does that make sense to everybody?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Okay. So I have got the preferred trait from everybody except Lee.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to send a private message in the chat, and it is breaking my brain.
Hit Control N to start up a new chat, and then select Christiana.
Yeah.
All right, so everyone go ahead and do your roll too if you haven't, so that we can because that's our next piece here. Okay, yeah. So I've got we need a focus as well for that one, Lee. So choose one of those focuses for that that trait. And then everyone, I think you can also send your die roll, although those are not secret, so you can just say those too if you like. But we're gonna go in order based on those results. All right, so I've got everybody's secret one. Oh, look at that, and I've got the 3 of the die rolls. So we're still waiting on yours, Lee. We're already in a position of needing to use the drama die to break a tie.
Yep.
Yeah. First few rolls.
That rhyme was kind of fun to say. But still waiting on Lee's.
Yeah, mine is horrible.
Fine. Just doesn't. This is not a moral judgment.
Oh wow.
Okay, great. So the order then, we had both Paul and Nobilis with a total of 15, but Nobilis with a drama die of 5 against Paul's drama die of 3. So the sequence will be Nobilis, Paul, Dove, Lee. Ironically, in the order that they were entered into the chat here. But so what that means then is so good. I see folks have added stuff to our little Google Doc here. So what we are going to just do in that order is choose one of those traits to add a +1 to. And so first Nobilis do it, and then Paul, and then Dove, and then Lee.
I'm going to start with leadership.
Okay.
So do you put a tick or something where?
Well, I would say just add a 1, and then if someone else is going to do that same 1, then you change it to 2.
Yep.
Okay.
So now I'm going to pick 1 in innovation.
Okay.
Then
All right.
me.
Yep.
Yep, you.
Let's see. No. I think strength.
Okay. And Lee?
I'm gonna add 1 to strength.
Okay.
Hey,
All right. So at this point, we have 2 in strength, 1 in innovation, 1 in leadership, none in resistance or resilience at this time. So so now that has happened, we are going to randomly do 4 more. Based on the ones. Well, you know what?
We only give you 4.
Well,
so
yeah. So I think it's going to just work out that everybody's gets chosen, but we can I can have it random in terms of which
Who gets-
order they go in. I suppose. I guess.
well, I think one thing you can do is that you don't reveal who suggested what.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's good. I think so. So I am rolling based on just how I'm seeing folks on my screen, which is different than how the stream will appear. So I'm not. No one will know which one I'm saying it is. But let's see. All right. So our first is that we're going to have yet 1 more to add to strength, bringing that to 3.
That's going to be a strong con.
Oh, yeah. There you go. And then the next one is changing it to 4.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And it is only in this way that it can even be above 3.
Yeah.
And then next, keep rolling because I'm ruling out. Wow. Okay. All right. And then next, we're going to get 1 in resilience.
Yeah,
And,
it's like we were
yeah.
way overbalanced otherwise.
And then 1 more in innovation.
Wow.
So
We have no resistance.
very
whatsoever.
strong. Yeah. Average, like okay in leadership and resilience, pretty good in innovation, maybe not as resistant. Okay.
Wow. Yeah,
So
if I know the
well,
no
that's kind of
other
the
numbers.
nature of this doing it this way, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what everyone is going to guess first. That's why you do it in secret, is you get some surprising results. So, starting with any remaining players not randomly chosen, that's moot. We're going to choose 3 and assign their chosen comm trait focuses. So basically, I am of the ones that you have all picked. I'm going to, again, I'll do it randomly, but we'll get the focus of 3 of the 4. Okay. So for strength, we have a focus of industry.
Should have been productivity. Sorry, I just revealed myself.
Okay.
You just outed yourself.
All right. Well, I guess productivity is what's in the book and not industry. So I guess it is productivity. Is that, I'm assuming that's, yeah. Okay. Well, it is not required for folks to reveal themselves, but also it's not a big deal. And so next, oh, you know what? We actually would have had a double. So I don't think you can have a double focus. Yeah, I don't think you can have
It doesn't say you can't.
Well, but the none of the mechanics that talk about focuses ever say anything. Well, +2 for ability focus. Let's maybe focus requirements. Let's maybe look to see in the character building part if it's possible to have a 2 of double focus of the same thing. Let's see. If you have a focus, your ability is effectively 2 higher than normal. Focuses add detail and definition. I
Double focuses on page 98.
Okay. Double on page 98.
Yeah.
Yeah, of the
Okay, I'm
PDF?
looking at page 98. I'm seeing leadership specializations, Lorist, diplomat.
Page 96.
Oh, okay, okay. This is important, everyone. If we're going to say page numbers, are you
Okay.
looking at the PDF page number or the book's page number?
I'm looking at the
'Cause
book's page
they
number.
don't match.
Yeah.
Okay.
The book's page number is 96.
Okay, double focuses. All right, having a focus grants +2, and increases to +3 at level 11. At higher levels, characters can take a focus a second time.
The same focus again.
Yes, but that
Oh.
is a level up feature. You cannot do it at the starting point. And when it's a double focus, it is not actually doubled even. It is, so at level 11, you would be already changing your +2 to the +3, and then you can take it again to have it be +4. But that suggests to me that that is not an option for the comm.
So did we get
You broke up there.
did we get productivity twice?
Yes, that's the reason that we started talking about
Ah,
that.
okay.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, I'm going to rule for now that we don't have double we
Double
don't have
productivity.
double focus. So that means that we're also going to get engineering and recovery. Engineering is an innovation one, and recovery in resilience. Great. Okay. So now we do the secondary traits. Are based on the results of primary trait allocations. A newly created comm starts with a size of 1. The comm's starting cache is equal to the higher of its strength or innovation traits.
That's 4.
Yeah. Stability. The comm's starting stability is equal to the sum of its resistance, resilience, and leadership traits, plus the number of player characters, plus 15. So resistance, resilience, and leadership is 2.
2.
Yeah.
2.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be a high number no matter what, right? Well, I guess it theoretically could be if it was like our strength. But so it would be 2 plus the number of player characters, which is 4, 6 plus 15. So 21 stability is to start. It's interesting too that, as we kind of talked about this concept, we could, if we wanted, choose to start with a bigger comm, right? It says a newly created comm starts with a size of 1, right? And so that seems to be what they're suggesting for the rules here. But obviously, I think, we could decide that we're making a bigger one, right? But I think it seems like, well, and it seems like part of this exercise is the part of the fun of it is supposed to be like you're building the comm. It's like a little it's a little city builder thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you still need the link to the doc, Nibilis? Or do you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So next is qualities. Each player in the group defines at least one quality of the comm. This is something descriptive about the comm that helps to provide further detail, helping the comm to come alive in the player's minds. Roll on the comm qualities table to randomly assign a quality to each player, re-rolling duplicates. If desired, players can define multiple qualities, and the ones listed on the comm qualities table are not the only possibilities, just suggestions of things to think about. Use the categories and themes to come up with your own qualities if you wish. If qualities suggested by different players are in conflict, discuss among the group how to best incorporate the differing ideas. So that means that the table, which you can roll on, is optional. Like it is not like the only way to do it. You don't have to roll and then take whatever you roll. You can just pick one, or you can make up one of your own. But rolling is also an available option. And we got this table here where it looks like you're rolling 2d6 to roll on that table. So does anyone have, looking at the table as examples of what sorts of things these qualities could be, or just making one up, does anyone want to either roll or know what they want?
One on the table that I think would be interesting is culture. What is the most popular event or time of the year in the comm? Describe it.
I am intrigued by you saying, oh, okay, never mind. I'm realizing there's more than one that starts with culture, just because for a second I was thinking, I thought I was reading the one you were reading and it was different. Okay, so most popular event or time of year in the so Dove, if you're picking that one, you're the one that's supposed to decide the answer.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you be ready for it.
Okay. Well, so if you're picking that one, then go ahead.
And it is early in the fall, like kind of the sign of spring or summer turning into fall is a time when there's just a bunch of algae blooms, and it just almost sends the fish into the local fish into a feeding frenzy, and it's just like a churning of the water that is just fascinating to watch.
Also, a lot of easy pickings for food.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like to the point where someone who's a bit picky might be like, I'm tired of fish. I'm tired of this type of fish.
Well, fish jerky for the cash.
One of the things that we should keep in mind.
Away from the camera just for a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One of the things we should keep in mind is that our modern variety in our diets since about 1920 or so is a historical anomaly of gigantic proportions.
Mm-hmm.
In historical Earth, when people are in difficult times, they eat the same thing every day. So being tired of fish is kind of like saying, why do we always drink water? I'd like to drink ammonia for once.
I mean,
it would be very alien concept to most people who don't live in a world of the kind of plenty that we have.
Yeah. So. Well, I think it's like the kind of thing where, when there's a lot of fish, that's what you eat. And, some people might be particularly picky and just be like, they don't want to, they might complain, not actually expecting anything to change, but they might complain.
Well, so to just land right in the middle of both of those, I would say I think it's human nature that there are going to be people, even if the expected is, yes, everybody eats the same thing every day, and it's always been that way. You're still going to have people who hate it and say, this sucks, I wish we had something else. But also, probably most of the other people in the comm are going to say that's bad behavior to act like that, to even say it, to suggest that there's something wrong or that this food isn't good enough is probably all by itself enough for people to say, if they like you shouldn't say things like that. And if they don't, they say it to someone else that you shouldn't be saying things like that.
Yeah.
So
okay, I'd like to grab one.
Yeah.
features. What is the most common challenge or misfortune the com deals with? And what I was going to say was, given that we have a in resistance, that there's a constant um, that we have a constant threat of diseases because this is a trade-based com. So we've got people coming in all the time and they bring diseases. And second of all, we also have problems with getting enough food.
One thing that I was going to suggest along those same lines that kind of dovetails. Oh, Duff stepped away. I was going to say with the algae thing is that a lot of algae blooms in real life are actually like toxic to people, at least. And so it could be that, for example, those same algae blooms, even though they bring in lots of fish and it makes it really easy to catch the fish, you have to really, really wash all of that algae off. And it's very easy to miss some and get sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was just a thought that I had. But it's your quality, Nabila. So I like your examples too. It could be all of those things.
Yeah.
So it's just the most common challenge is that people are just constantly getting sick, and it's not always like yeah. Okay, cool.
And then maybe the nutrition's not so great because the diet is unvaried.
Yeah. And so note in this creating Nuvine qualities sidebar that's below this table here, it gives examples of the level of detail they're using to answer these quality questions. So just for that purpose, let's add those to our document here. And I see a third one is already being added, typing in progress. Does whoever owns that one want to claim it and say it out loud?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I want to claim it. I'm going to claim history. What is the dead Civ ruin or remnant nearest to the comms? What is it like? It's a place in the forest along the coast to the northeast called Greystone. Lots of menhir stone plazas and ruined rocky buildings. I'm thinking kind of Land of the Lost, the Lost City, except because we're kind of tropical here. So if you've seen Land of the Lost, you know exactly where I'm going with this. Hopefully there won't be any sleep stacks.
Nice. Is it when we say in the forest, do we mean
it's inside the forest? Yes.
Okay, so I just mean it's not like near the forest, but kind of on the outskirts. It's like you like maybe there's remnants of stone paths that lead to it, and so like that's how people found it. Is this kind of like, hey, what is this? It looks like, oh, was this a path once?
Yeah, I like that.
Some of the loggers were like using the path to get back and forth to where they were cutting wood because it's just a little easier to carry that way, and then all of a sudden, oh hey, dead Civ ruin.
Yep.
Maybe discovered recently.
Yeah, it could be relatively recent.
Yeah. All right. I have one that I want to do, which is secrets. What legends or superstitions do people in the com believe? But in order to do it, I need to know some background information, which is how much germ theory do these guys know?
Basically, well, actually, I was about to say basically none, but I can't. I'm that might be wrong.
I think they're. I mean, they know about they know anatomy. So it's reasonable that there's some medical science that's been.
I think it's probably one of those things is that the educated people do know, but there might be quite a variety of how well dispersed that knowledge is.
And of how it's just because you've discovered germ theory once doesn't mean miasma theory can't come back.
Well, especially if we're a com where we've got a low resistant score, we're getting sick all the time. Maybe that's because we have a lot of people who just don't really believe it and don't like.
Yeah, like
they're superstitious about why do you sometimes get sick when you eat the fish and the local doctor is saying, because you're not washing all the algae off. I keep telling you this. And they're saying, no, I don't think that's it. Because I had some the other day and I didn't get sick. It's like, well, but
yeah, I was
what
thinking,
did you actually have in mind, Lee?
No, what I was actually thinking it having in mind was like very, very early like plague resistant stuff where people would like carry flowers to breathe through just to try and ward off miasma. It wouldn't even be like the very, very early plague doctor mass, which is admittedly at the end of the Black Plague, it was a big thing that was just filled with herbs and flowers. And so just like everybody wears certain flowers with the belief that the aroma of those flowers will ward off diseases.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. That is one of my favorite little just bits of like user interface design aesthetic stuff, just because for something which in principle is purely functional in a very basic way of you have to deal with a lot of stinky stuff, so let's have some nicer smelling things to kind of cover it up. Well, we need a way to hold it close to where it's going to need to be, so let's just make a little like pocket to hold it right here. And sheer coincidence that it makes you look terrifying. Especially for a person who is working with dead people all day.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
You know,
it's just kind
I just had a thought, the idea like ravens and such being omens and like, and oh hey, these people that work with death wear beak-like masks.
Well, I mean, okay, but taking it further, what if just like almost everybody in the town wears plague doctor masks?
Yeah. Well,
it's not
especially
just
when
like,
a stranger
not
comes to
just like
town.
the plague doctors. I mean, just like it's just the fashion of this calm,
or
where
just because I keep tying everything back to this. What if it's just that during that algae bloom season, the algae smells really bad, and so during that time of year, everyone wears the masks.
Okay,
that
makes
sense.
Just because it's a part of fall around here that the water stinks because there's algae in it.
Yep.
It smells terrible.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we've got 4 qualities there. So the next step is the year before. To complete the comm creation process and move on to the creation of the primary individual characters, the group plays through 1 year, 4 seasons, using the rules in Chapter 8, which we'll skip to in a moment. This defines the year the comm has just had before the play campaign begins. Some groups might want to play out a longer or shorter time, anywhere from just a season or 2 to multiple years. But the year before is the recommended time. Play it out before creating the player characters, as the events in the comm might well spark some ideas for characters and their own stories. And then, of course, creation of the comm is not truly complete until the group has defined more about the people who live there. For that, move on to the character creation chapter. So we're skipping ahead. So the next chapter is the character creation, but we're skipping ahead to 8 for gameplay. So seasons, a comm turn is a season. Ordinarily, there are 4 seasons in a year, but see the 5th season at the end of this section. During each season, the game moderator rolls for a seasonal event, and the comm makes a prosperity test and can initiate a comm activity. Seasonal events represent the random fortunes of a comm surviving in the stillness. They are not the only things to happen in the entire season, just particular events that stand out in their seasons. At the start of the season, the game moderator rolls on the seasonal events table to determine what the key event will be for that season. And we'll integrate that into the narrative of the campaign as desired. The following section provides additional ideas for seasonal events, including the option to roll an additional die to randomly determine the event. But the game moderator is always free to simply make up a suitable event. So let's see. Many of them are misfortunes. And they can weaken the stability. I see. There's just categories of seasonal events. So one is a misfortune of some kind. There can also be aggressors attack or disaster strikes, disputes arise, new discoveries, opportunity knocks, strangers appear, intervention are the different kinds of things that can happen. And there's more instructions for each of those as they might occur. So I'm not rolling yet because but because I want to see what the next piece of this is. So once the event of the season is determined, the com's prosperity is tested. This is a measure of the com's overall success and survivability. It is a TN11 test using the com's highest trait. Failure means the com suffers a misfortune and loses 2d6 stability. If it has 0, it can lose one of its focuses or reduce one of its traits by 1. If the test succeeds, the com continues to do well, at least meeting its essential needs. If the test succeeds and generates stunt points, the com rolls a simple TN11 test using the results of the drama die as a bonus. If this test succeeds, apply an advancement to the com's cash score.
Aha.
Yeah. Like other misfortunes, character action can potentially mitigate the results of a failed prosperity test, which is something we would do if we were playing a season test after having a party already. And then each season, a com can also initiate an activity similar to a character's action. You choose one of the following activities in the roll the specified test. So there's a conflict, growth, improvement, innovation, preparation, recovery. And then you can also take on certain conditions to deal with a loss of stability. Afflicted, disorganized, disrupted, unfocused. And then at the end of each season, assess the com's status. A com with more than 5 stability and 3 or more primary trait scores of 1 or greater is considered stable, although the lower those two factors become, the less stable it is, and the more it is in potential danger of assimilation or dissolution. If a com's stability drops below 5 and it has 3 or more primary traits at 0 or less, it is vulnerable to assimilation into an equal-sized or larger com adjacent to it. And so this is considered a misfortune. We're probably not going to deal with that in this first year thing. But we'll see. If it comes up, we will. But
and that makes me think of Traveler. We could kill our common character creation.
I mean, yeah. So
conceivable.
Yes. So basically, now we're going to start. I mean, we don't have to start with spring, but that seems like a straightforward place to start. I suppose it would depend on like what season do we want our players to start in, our player characters to start in, right? So whatever the year before that is.
I mean, spring sounds like a good start for
yeah.
for an adventure.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm picking a D6 here to roll. Let's see, what's a good one? Here we go. I like this blue and white one here. So I'm going to roll this for our spring seasonal event. And it's a 1 for aggressors attack. So from time to time, comms have to fend off attacks or even deal with violence from within. Aggression and the need to defend the comm become far more common during a 5th season as desperation, lawlessness, and banditry abound. This type of aggression may include the following, and it has a list of 6 things, which I think we're going to roll again to see which of those it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 6, trouble within. An aggressive faction within the comm causes problems. This is more directed than a violent outbreak and can range from violent protest to an outright coup attempt against leadership within the comm. So let's see. I think. Let's see. I'm trying to.
Now we roll the test.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, it's the prosperity test. Yeah, so I guess that's just what it is. Just once the event is determined, the comm's prosperity is tested. But before we do that roll, let's decide just a little bit more detail. What is this internal dispute that's causing so much trouble? There's trouble within.
Well, I originally had the idea that there's the shipbuilders, and there's and perhaps anybody kind of seaward focused, and then there's merchants and people highway focused, and they don't get along too well. And they're like constantly going back and forth over resources. Like for example, the shipbuilders want to build ships, the merchants want to build wagons, and
there's only enough tools to supply one.
And remember, too, part of what we were, I think, collectively excited about with this concept, too, was this idea that it was kind of on the border between the richer, more prosperous, equatorial comms and the coastal comms.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they both are like represented kind of, the cosmos reflected within the local. And this, like, in living memory, broke out into violence. And I'm thinking, somebody got his ship, the work on the ship that he was trying to get built was his laborers got reassigned and didn't like it and went and burned a wagon shop, and then those people, rather than waiting for justice to come about, came back and burned the ship, and then things started breaking out into more personal violence, and revenge became, instead of just arson, started, and maybe they died in one of the fires. And then, now it's,
now it's on.
Now it's life for life, and you got, people getting jumped in the street and stuff like that.
Okay. So this is it's time to test the comm's prosperity in this time of turmoil. So this is a TN11 test using the comm's highest trait, which is obviously strength, right? And so someone needs to roll the 3d6 plus strength, which is 4. And then a question, I guess, productivity does not seem like that would be a focus that would help with this specifically, right?
No.
So it sounds like what we're doing is someone, well, it was your suggestion, Nabilis, so do you want to do the roll?
Yeah, I'll do the roll.
Okay.
Okay. So I rolled an 8, which is not very good, but our might score is 4, so that makes it 12, which is a success.
Right, great. What, just for reference, what was the drama die?
The drama die was a 4. It was the best die on the roll.
Nice. So it's not a failure, so we don't suffer a misfortune and lose.
Yeah, none of the dice came up the same, so we don't generate stunt points.
Yeah. Let's see. Some of these rules are a little bit unclear to me, but I think we're doing it right. So if the test succeeds, the comm continues to do well, at least meeting essential needs. It did not generate stunt points, though, so we don't do the second roll to see if there are improvements. Okay. So I think
So we
it
don't
was
do
our
improvement.
strength that
Right.
that carried us through this, right?
Yep.
Oh,
So
succeeds and okay.
yeah. So
I
so if how do we think that this was just like I can
I think-
imagine a couple of ways it could go, right? Like one is, you know, whoever has the most strongbacks on their side just kind of puts down the opposition.
Or the leadership, perhaps, or perhaps the strongbacks themselves
Mm-hmm.
say,
Knock it off.
yeah, basically, clamp everything down
Mm-hmm.
and like after the first few back and forth between these two groups, who the strongbacks work for on both sides,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But the strongbacks are also the soldiers, and so they just drop tools on all of the projects and round up everybody they think might have been part of all this lawlessness
Uh-huh.
and turn them over to the leadership and say, would you deal with this, please?
Just imagine how terrifying a labor strike is in this setting.
oh geez. Wow.
Um,
Especially
Yeah.
for this particular calm.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So it sounds like you might have some people with some lingering hurt feelings, but at least for now, it seems like peace has been brokered, and we're not having people getting beat up in the streets anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, time for season 2.
Well, no. We
No?
can do a comm activity.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. Collectively, we need to choose one of the following activities: conflict, which would be, let's see.
Sounds like we attack another.
Yeah, that's
So yeah, I
another
see.
call.
Perhaps
I think preparation makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. So it sounds like conflict is something you would potentially do if you have a longer term thing where you've already established that there's some other nearby comm that's
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Right.
another thing, if I could propose,
mm-hmm.
would be a like you can just choose improvement as an activity, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's one of the activities.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we could try and
Yeah.
see about getting some
Resistance.
Resistance.
Oh, yeah, that's another
I
good thing.
I
Yeah,
think that might be better
Mhm.
than
than
preparation.
preparation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so because we have 0 in that and only need 1, that means we would only need to do the improvement activity once and succeed to
Yeah.
improve it
We need one
from
success.
0 to 1.
Right.
Yeah. Good suggestion, Duff. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
In the wake of the upheaval, the doctors just kind of went door to door and tried to smack everybody
Yeah.
with a clue by 4.
I've never heard that phrase before.
Clue by 4?
No, I haven't.
I don't think I've heard that one either. But
Oh, yeah.
It's good. It's self-evident what it means.
Yeah.
Okay, so the
Should I roll since I'm a
well, so I was just rolling a specified test, and I was just thinking about it because it says a simple test.
Right, which means that it doesn't generate stunt points.
Oh, is that what that means? I was going to say
That's what simple means.
what are you adding to it?
Oh, you still roll it the regular way. You just don't generate stunt points.
But are we always rolling the highest trait?
Yeah.
The comm prosperity says to do that, but the comm activity is different.
Or maybe it's just a straight up. Maybe it's a straight up.
Because I'm just thinking in the fiction, it doesn't necessarily make sense that any highest trait would be able to generate improvement on everything else.
Fair enough.
But I mean, I'm not opposed to that if that's the intended rule. I guess I'm just trying to.
Or maybe they're related to, like, each one of these has a different. So maybe conflict
I think simple
is strength.
means you don't add anything unless
No,
I
I'm looking at,
focus would.
there's
Unless the
5 of
focus
them.
would.
There's 5 of them, like there's 5 attributes. What if growth is strength?
Okay. So
It's like innovation would be innovation, right?
A simple test is like a basic test. So simple test is just that you don't deal with the stunt points. That doesn't apply. So that's all that means in terms of that term.
But there's always a step 2. It determines the appropriate ability and focus.
Okay.
So,
so if it doesn't say, that means I'm the one that decides it.
Okay.
So it's not just always automatically strength.
Yeah.
Or rather, always automatically the
highest.
Yeah.
Only for that other one, but not.
Yeah.
It was for the
because the
conflict,
prosperity
Only the
one
prosperity
does explicitly say using the comp's highest strength.
Okay.
But for this,
right.
I think it makes sense to me that for an attempt to improve resilience or resistance,
yeah.
That innovation seems like a good attribute. Now, if someone really wants to pitch me on strength, the idea that you could have something that is just literally a lot of work to do. Like it's like you send the strongbacks to actually just dig a whole bunch of new latrines that are farther from where the drinking water is. Theoretically, you could,
I think the problem
say,
here, though,
pitch me on what is actually happening, because I think if it is the resistance, the existing doctors doing the work, that would be a resistant trait, right? So pitch me on what is being done to improve it.
Yeah, I would like to pitch innovation because it is innovation. You're trying to make your discoveries or rediscoveries of things.
I don't think, but what we've established about the reason that the resistance is so low is because the people believe things that don't actually protect their health as much as it could say, actually, that given the nature of the weakness, that leadership makes more sense.
Okay. I mean, I could, yeah.
Just because we're trying to convince people to behave differently, to think differently. Now,
okay.
And so, or we could do innovation if they're not attacking it that way, but instead, we're building some kind of technology to help purify the air or the fish, or they come up with a new way to clean the fish that's more effective. That would be innovation.
What just came to mind was there is a larger calm nearby, the Palestine. Perhaps some of the innovators go and basically go and look at what Palestine does. They take a trip out there and come back with
I
some
mean, theoretically,
ideas.
If we had you could also you could basically hire people to come and live in our comm, right? Like that's a thing that can happen.
Yeah. And that would be a diplomacy action, which would be leadership.
So, where I'm coming down on this is, I think any trait can be applicable, but whichever trait you use has to be justified by the means by which in the fiction we're doing this. So for example, if you wanted to use strength, which is the best number, we'd have to explain why strength is what lets it happen. But
I'm okay not using strength just because it's less.
No, I'm saying I'm gonna let you all decide which you want to use, but just justify it.
I think it would be most straightforward to use leadership.
Yeah,
Paul,
I think so too.
Leadership?
I think leadership.
Okay.
Let's roll leadership.
Yeah.
So leadership, we have as 1. So we're going to roll 3d6.
Shall I?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Note which one is. I guess no drama doesn't matter really.
You don't need drama.
Just the total.
Yeah. So that's 9. 11 plus 1 is 12.
Yay!
So
Okay, all right. So that
Yay.
is a success, which means that because we only needed one success in order to go from 0 to 1, we do that.
Yay.
So
Yay.
it's interesting. The rule for it, I think, is interesting. Is basically you need a number of advancements exceeding the trait. So to go from 0 to 1, you need 1. To go from 1 to 2, you need 2, etc.
yeah, and that's a
Yeah.
good curve to go by.
Yeah.
Because then it's like,
Well, and this is also, we have
Can't-
to remember, this is a mechanic that if you were going to run a campaign would apply for a longer period of time than just 1 year, right? So
Oh,
you might
yeah.
do a bunch of seasons.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that is the activity for the spring.
And
do we want to?
since we have more than 5 study and 3 more grade school,
You're
stable, and we
breaking
don't
up a
need to
lot,
worry about-
Nibilis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
we don't need to worry about stat. Our stability traits are good.
Yep, our traits are good.
Okay.
So we can go on to summer.
Okay.
Do we want to bring out some details of how it goes? Come up with some more details.
Sure. So yeah. So with the leadership, this was what sort of we send a mission, we send a team of people to the nearest the Pelistay or whatever the big place was, to basically saying our resistant class needs help. We either want to hire someone, a resistant from their comm, to come and live in our comm, or we just need like lessons and resources and advice.
Yeah.
I think it would be really interesting if the leadership to bring someone in, but people don't receive salaries in the Stillness. That's not, you don't get money.
Well, perhaps
what you get is, we will treat you well if you come to our.
Yeah.
Be a,
Well,
be a
there could also be a
resistant,
situation where like you're one of many, you're not getting to do the kind of work that you want to do.
Yeah,
and
like there's an apprentice that's skilled, but it's one of many, and they come decide, well, I will go to this other comm to help them.
Don't worry, the algae only stinks in the fall.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so are we ready to determine our summer seasonal event then?
Yep.
Yep.
All right,
I think so.
Got my D6.
Yeah.
That is a 3, which is disputes arise, which is interesting that it's maybe it's different than our previous one, but it's kind of connected. Okay, so we have disputes arise. Common life is not always harmonious, and disputes happen from time to time. Ordinarily, these are minor and easily addressed, but sometimes they affect the whole comm and can cause more serious problems. These types of disputes may include the following, and we're going to have another D6 to see which it is.
Well,
and it's a 6, which is a standstill. Conflict within the community is such that the comm has a difficult time coordinating to accomplish more than the bare essentials. The comm loses its activity for this season.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Dang.
So maybe this is things were not quite as thoroughly resolved as we thought last time. Like, we got a little bit done, but now everyone is just kind of sulking.
No,
Yeah.
is that now?
And old man McGregor is still not listening, and
So we got to roll to see if we actually lose lose stability as a result.
Well, so we're certainly going to still do the prosperity roll.
Yeah.
And so that is going to still be with our highest trait, which is strength. So who wants to do that one?
Paul
I
or
already
Lee?
did one.
I'll do it.
All right.
So
3d6 plus 4 for strength. Wait, hang on. So our focus is productivity.
So yes, and that is exactly what this is. So yes, I think it counts.
Yeah, I think so too. So that means we'll add 4 and an additional +2 for the focus.
Right. So +6 and 3D. And that comes out to be a 20.
Wow, that's nice. What was the so did we
The dr-
have any
We have to. We have 2 6s, 2 6s and a 2. I rolled.
aha, so we did
we get
generate
some-
stunt points.
We did generate stunt points out.
And so what was the drama die roll?
A 2.
A 2. So now it's a simple TN test using the result of the drama die as a bonus. And so if it succeeds, we get an advancement to the comms cash score.
Okay, let's give
Oh,
it
nice.
a roll. And that's a 12.
Okay, yeah. So
Hey.
you beat 11. So that apply an advancement to the cash score, which would be the improvement. So we do it like the improvement activity, I guess.
Yeah, cash score would go up to 5, wouldn't it?
Well, we get 1 advancement. So
Okay.
if our cash score is already at 4, we need more than 1 advancement
Oh,
to,
okay, yeah.
to
Okay.
get it to 5. But you can like 4.1, or just like 4 with 1 advancement.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Makes sense.
All right. So it sounds like maybe that like the primary activity is kind of stalled out, but you people who have been smart about their own planning are finding ways to kind of keep some of the wheels turning at least.
Well, what I'm thinking is that this is like the strong back strike is continuing, but they realize that we don't want to be doing no work.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely against lore. So
Yeah.
that's just like, okay, we're just going to stockpile resources against future need.
So instead
Right,
of
you know,
instead of
focusing on
building
that.
ships or wagons,
Mhm.
they go and clear some fields or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
it-
hunting,
Yeah.
go fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there are certainly historical examples of strikes that are different than just complete stopping of work, and like refusing to do certain kinds of work but still doing other work, for example.
But I should note that one of the great things about narrative, the conflict still isn't resolved.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And this is all stuff that can feed into character creation, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so we don't do the activity this time. We're still not in the danger of assimilation or dissolution. Well, let's see. And we haven't had to deal with the loss of stability, so we don't need to deal with the conditions either. So, ready for autumn.
Autumn.
Yep.
Autumn.
Autumn.
Yeah,
Autumn.
great.
Autumn.
So I rolled a 4. New discoveries.
Ooh.
New things turn up within and around a comm from time to time. Sometimes these new discoveries yield potential benefits if handled carefully. Other times they herald potentially serious dangers. These new discoveries can include the following, and I'm going to roll again to see which. 3 is an origin.
Uh-oh.
A feral
Oh.
origin
Boy.
is discovered within the comm. We need to roll a TN13 leadership test.
Oh boy.
Wow. We're gonna lose stability either way.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like if it succeeds, we only lose a little, but yeah.
If it fails, we get wrecked.
Yeah. So who wants to roll this leadership test?
I will.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so 3d6 plus our leadership, and we don't have a
No
focus on
focus.
leadership, so just 3d6 plus 1.
Let's see. Oh, does this have it allow for step points?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I got 13 base plus 1, so 14.
Okay, good. So that is
With 4
that's
on the drama.
That's a succeed, so the origin is safely removed from the comm with only the loss of 1 stability.
We're down to 20.
But I think that this is notable enough that I think we need to like talk about what happened here. Let's invent who was this person, and what happened here could be safely removed from the com. Could mean handed over to Fulcrum. It could mean they agreed to like leave, and it seems like it all happened peacefully.
Or we could have
Or
drowned
it
them.
could be they were, assassinated. And thankfully it was done before they were able to hurt anybody.
I think.
Oh, you're freezing up a lot.
Yeah.
Roll a d6, 1 or 2, 3 or 4, 5 or 6.
Yeah. Does someone else want to roll it, or I can?
I can. Then roll my drama die because that sounds appropriate. 6.
Yeah. Okay.
What did each one mean?
Yeah, we missed that.
I mean,
Yeah.
the order that I said things in was that the last option was that basically we had to kill them before they could hurt anybody.
Yeah, so let's go with that.
Yeah, but
Okay.
let's say who was this in town? We don't need to like know their whole life story, but like what was their job? What was their name? How did we take them down?
What if they arrived with the new the new resistance?
Part of their party.
Part of the
What I was thinking was one of the merchants, like the merchant that started the dispute. And and basically everything, tensions were about to break, and then a shake hit, and the shake, but it bypassed the comm completely, and there was some sort of sign with this person, and we're like, and everybody that was about to beat him said, okay, we need to take this person and get rid of him.
One thing that I'm going to point out, not because we can't do either of those options, but I think that you're avoiding the more dramatic possibility that it's someone who's always lived here and that you've all known.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like one of the merchants who...
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's more dramatic and works better, yeah.
Yeah.
Who was...
It's a member of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
A member of a merchant family.
Well, here's a question, maybe just because this is just different expectations, is my impression was that although there is a degree to which this comm makes ships for others and everything, by and large in this society, unless you're in the big comms, there's not a huge merchant class because it's such a regimented society. Now that's not something that can't be true here, but it's not necessarily true here. So I guess I'm just asking the question: does our comm have a lot of merchants?
I think what it has is like there are people. Okay, here's what I imagined.
Mm-hmm.
There are in town merchants.
We're losing every third word you're saying, Nabilis. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I will type it.
Okay. I mean, we like seeing you, but it's possible also camera off, but audio only could help too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Is it better now?
Seems so
Maybe.
far, but it kind of comes and goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I talk about the merchants, what I mean are the people who serve the merchants who come to the town in order to have access to the merchants who are traveling on it. We have a place where the two systems touch.
Mm-hmm.
There's the highways and the ships, and they and
I think the audio, the video
Yeah.
off is not
It-
making a difference.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm.
I will type.
Okay. So, in any case, though, yeah, I think that we've got like they could be, but
Like-
I'm asking even so like
Okay.
what I'm imagining and asking for detail is like I don't want to know generally. I want to know who this person
Right.
was. Like, yeah.
So-
Go ahead.
Idea with the merchants, there are two builder families. One focuses on ships, one focuses on carts, and the Origin is a member of the cart builders.
I feel like we're narrowing
And-
in very slowly. I'm asking almost more in the context of not let's start big and then narrow down, but so much as let's say it was a kid or it was, the friendly shopkeep who always said hi to you, like I'm looking for the personal here.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the cabbage merchant.
It's also worth noting that the older they are, the more it's something that they would have been hiding their whole life.
Wife, right. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking, eldest son of one, eldest son of the cart merchants. I forgot the naming conventions in this universe.
Yeah.
His name is Benko, according to Nobilis.
Okay. Where is that being typed?
In the chat,
Oh.
main chat.
Okay, so
Oh, I
yeah,
see.
bank. Yeah, he says yeah, Benko, heir to the wagon builders. I like that. Let's go with
the
that.
the way names work in this setting, incidentally, is you have like a given name. Benko in this case would be that, and then your middle name is your use cast, and then your last name is your com name, which we haven't set yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Benko Strongback something or another.
right. Benko strung back to be determined. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
heir to the wagon builders. Yep. So he's in his 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Yeah. So he's hiding it for a bit, but
Yeah.
eventually it just all came out. There's been a stressful time with the strike and everything, so finally things overflowed, I think.
Yeah.
And he just started using his power came out.
Yeah. So like he just got too worked up about some argument or other and accidentally like
Manifested his
kept
power.
it under wraps enough that nobody else got hurt, but that it was obvious
Yeah.
what was
Like,
going on.
Yeah.
there's like basically whatever happened, there's like a burst of cold and a circle of frost around him.
Yeah. And so like I mean, it's kind of horrifying, but this is part of the setting here, and like the good outcome in this is that he was dealt with promptly with nobody else getting hurt. So what do we think happened here? Did we had some of our other strongbacks just someone threw a rock at his head or something, or what are we thinking?
Someone came up behind him and smacked him in the head with a shovel, and
He's a brave
he
person.
disappeared. And he disappeared after that.
Who did?
Benko.
What do you mean he
Benko.
disappeared?
He
No,
died.
He was disappeared.
He was
died.
disappeared.
Oh, okay. I feel like in this setting, if you discover there's an Origin, you don't want him to disappear. You want it to be clear to everybody that he's dealt with.
Okay. I'm gonna go with what I had said before. He was publicly drowned. We live by the coast. We have the water. He was publicly drowned.
So I almost want to offer like, and I'm starting to be pushing back on this, but just like this is a big part of the setting and everything. To publicly drown him probably would require his cooperation.
Oh, because his
Yeah. I think
Origin,
that
Because
that blow to the back of the head just
well, see
it
that's
just
what I was going to
staved
say.
his head in.
Yeah, like see
Okay.
that's the thing is that if you just take him out so that he can't keep doing it,
Yeah.
he is not. But see, the thing is, you can't just like arrest him because even if he is not wanting to hurt anybody, just not wanting to die could well be enough for his powers to kind of activate again. And then anyone near him is at risk of just literally getting frozen solid in 2 seconds.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah,
it's
a short,
it's
sharp
a
shock. Yeah.
well, and this is exactly why it's such a scary thing in this world, right? Is that it could be someone that you've always known. It's almost like a zombie scenario thing, right? Like if someone you know, but if they get bit, I mean, you got to do it.
Yep.
Which and like at the same time, we could imagine that it could be a scenario where, if he's cooperative enough, he could be sent off to the fulcrum or something, right? Like but we rolled, right? We rolled to see how it went. So in any case, scary. I imagine people are maybe sad about it. I'm sure that there are some people who soothe their sadness by just deciding that it's fine, he was a monster, so you don't need to be sad for a monster. But there are also probably people who don't feel that way about it. But this is the reality of this setting is, origins are scary. Okay. Gosh, I'm not that I think we should. So I guess we have one. We have that was our misfortune. We have our prosperity.
We have our activity.
And then activity. So let's keep moving so that we have a little time to do at least some character stuff too.
Okay, so com activity.
We don't get one.
Oh no,
that was the last season. This is
that was summer.
Oh yeah. That was last.
So first we have to do the prosperity test though. So someone needs to roll the 3d6 plus our strength.
Why don't you do it, Lee? You haven't done one yet.
You don't want me rolling. That's why I haven't been volunteering to roll. I got a 3.
Oh dear God!
Oh boy!
So
a 3 plus. Well, I got 3 on the die. 1, 1, 1, and so plus strength is 7.
So interesting. So I guess stunt points don't matter if it fails anyway. But so that means that failure means that we're going to suffer misfortune and lose 2d6 stability. So let's roll to see what the misfortune is. I'm just going to go ahead and roll 2d6, and my blue one is still the first category, and then the other one will be whatever subcategory. So that's a 4, which is another new discovery. I literally rolled for an origin again. We can, I think we don't need to say there's a second one. We can just say it's ongoing ripple effects from that first one. But we kind of adjudicated that we only lost 1 stability from that, but it sounds like maybe just that was the initial apparent, but now there's maybe a little bit of maybe people whispering about like, oh, maybe if there was 1 in that family, who knows? Maybe there's more. They've got other kids, right?
Yeah.
So let's so we need to roll 2d6 for how much stability is lost.
Well, maybe if you roll again, that low roll will help.
Yep.
Roll them.
And in this case, I rolled double 6s.
There we go.
You rolled 2 1s and then 2 6s?
I rolled 3 1s and 2 6s.
Okay. All right. Well, so we lost. So that means we lose 12 stability, which is substantial. But we had 21, so it's not disastrous, but it's obviously not great. Okay. So that sounds then like recovery might be good action to take.
I think
for the
so.
Activity.
Let's do that.
Because you can restore some stability with that.
Simple T11 test. So what trait do we think this should go under?
Well, I would say like what is the means by which we're trying to restore the stability here? Is this just a we have some like public town halls to, talk about what happened and
That would be
discuss like
leadership.
what how do we want to handle this in the future? Did we think we did it well? What do we think we need to do in the future? Do we just need to give people a forum to talk about their anxieties? I mean, I'm asking, is this kind of the idea? That was one thought. But the goal is the idea is just like, well, people are upset and scared and maybe starting to, starting to exacerbate old disputes. What do we do to try to calm that down?
Yeah, I like that. So that'd be leadership then.
What I described is probably leadership. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody else good?
Yeah, leadership
Mhm.
will work.
All right. So let's roll that 3d6 plus 1.
All right, I'll roll it. So that's a 15. The drama die is a 3.
Okay. So roll one more d6 and we will restore that roll plus 3 for stability.
Were there any stunts on that
No,
first one?
nope, no,
Okay.
no stunts.
Yeah. It wouldn't apply in this case anyway.
Well, it does. It says success
It
with the
doubles
stunts
the-
doubles the bonus added by the drama die.
Okay, sure.
So it would have
okay.
been nice. But I
Well,
get a total of
that's weird because it also calls it a simple TN test where the definition of a simple test is that doesn't matter.
But I got
okay.
a total of 7 points back.
Okay.
So
That
now we're
is-
back up to 15 stability.
Oh, okay. And another thing we could have done also for that loss of stability is we could have chosen to take a condition to reduce the stability lost by 1d6. Do we want to have retroactively done that? Afflicted, disorganized, disrupted, or unfocused.
I think just straight stability losses.
I think, yeah, we have enough. We don't have to, we're not risking going down to 0. So,
Yeah.
okay. But, all right, then. So what did we get? What did we restore?
We restored 7, so now we're up to 15.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be 16?
We are 20, we lost 12, we were at 8. 8 plus 7 is
I thought we had 21.
Oh,
yeah,
no, 21 was probably before we removed the 1 from
right,
Oh,
right. 21 is
yeah,
right, then
okay.
20,
Okay.
then 12, then 15. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay,
Okay.
great. All right, so we're ready for season 4, right?
Yep, we're for
Yep.
final season for Hazy Shade of Winter.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Not sorry.
Disaster strikes.
Great. That's just great.
Well, I mean, it's not like how many, the percentage of these that are great, good things are small.
Yeah, I know. This is 5th season, not A Peace and Rainbows RPG.
Disaster strikes. Well, and also, I mean, there are lots of ordinary days where you celebrate someone's birthday, or like, hey, look, I found a turnip that's got like a little face on it. Isn't that cool? Lots of those ordinary things happen all the time, but we're talking about like what was the big thing that happened that season.
Yeah, it's kind of like a quiet year, that game we played.
So our disaster is something happens to the comms cache. Vermin, parasites, rot, a fungus, or other bad environment. Roll a TN11 innovation test for the comm. And if it fails, we reduce the comms cache score by 1.
What's the roll?
So
why don't
who's
you roll,
rolling?
Dov? Why don't you roll, Dov?
Okay. Innovation. That is 8 plus or 8 plus 1 plus 2 is 11.
Okay.
Meets.
11 is exactly what we needed. So it succeeded. We do not reduce the cache score. So what was the problem, and how did our innovators, our comm innovators, catch the problem in time?
I think going back from the previous season where the ripple effects of the execution the mistrust between people led to some of the stored items not being prepared properly for storage.
Oh,
which
okay. It's just
meant
like
that
some step got skipped in all the chaos, and then didn't discover till later that none of these are
yeah,
sealed properly, or something like that.
yeah,
Am
and
I coming through?
Yep.
Yeah, for now.
I think something more dramatic would be that people mistrusting the administration, people mistrusting things, start stealing from the cache.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think that'd
That
be
works.
more dramatic.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
and
the innovators track
innovators
down the
came with new locks or new.
No, the old innovators figured out who it was and got its stuff back.
It could be new locks also.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you'd want to, there's new pages for track.
Well, I think the other thing too is that, like, maybe this is an open question. I think by default in this setting, stealing from the cache is a big deal. Like, that's an execution offense in some comms. How serious do we think it is in this case?
I think because we didn't have a big loss, it was
maybe it was a joyride situation. Is like, well, you took it, but we found it before and we're able to put it back without it being.
Yeah,
it's kind of like
someone was given extra duties as punishment instead of execution.
Yeah, it's kind of like none of it was actually lost. It was a, are you sure you want to be doing this situation? You know what I suddenly thought of, and I don't know how directly this would apply, but the movie Magnolia with the William H. Macy character, where he's had a rough run of luck. He thinks he needs a bunch of money for reasons that don't need to go into. But he decides he's going to steal from his shop, his former employer, but basically just like in the middle of trying to do it, he falls off of a ladder that he's climbing up, like smashes up his teeth, and basically gets seen by a cop in that spot. But that cop decides in that moment that it's like, this guy doesn't need to go to jail. He needs somebody to help him. And so he helps that guy just go in and put the money back in before they leave to go take him to a hospital.
And I just realized I got 2 4s on that roll. And it doesn't say it's a simple test, so.
Well, but it also doesn't say anything happens if the
no stunt points then?
No,
not for that one.
No.
Oh, okay.
I would have read it if it said, but I guess I haven't always. But so not for this one.
Okay.
Okay, so we got our prosperity test and our activity, and then let's switch over and do a little bit of character stuff.
We can at least get concepts.
Yeah. So who wants to roll it? Let's keep it moving.
I'll roll prosperity.
All right.
So it's 3d6 plus 4, and big bucks, no whammies. And I got a 16, but no doubles.
Okay. So that's yep. No
straight up pass, nothing.
Yep.
Finally getting back on our feet.
All right, so now we get an activity. Do we want to go for recovery again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, we are. Anything less than 18 means that one bad roll could destroy us.
So who wants to roll that?
I'll roll it.
Go for it.
So what are we doing to recover in this case in order to determine what trait to add?
Stock
hard work.
Yes,
just buckling down and
strength. Yeah.
And
everybody pulls shifts.
Prosperity and the prosperity bonus should apply. Yeah. 13 plus 4 is 17 plus 2 is 19.
Okay, that's
the productivity. I think is what you meant. You said prosperity, but yeah. So
17. Productivity. Yeah.
No doubles.
No doubles. 6, 3, and 4.
So so roll one more d6 and then add that to the drama die.
The drama die is 3. Adding another 3 makes 6.
Okay, so we add 6 back to 21.
All right.
Yeah.
That worked out.
Wow.
Okay. So this is our comm at the time that we decide this is the year that our characters have just lived through. But the other thing that we have to do before we move on is we have to name our comm. What's the name of this place?
Comm names don't have to be like in English.
No.
Yeah. So
I mean, look at the map. There's all over. It's all
Yeah.
over the place.
Yeah.
but it's also a small comm and perhaps a fairly recent one. So maybe it does have an intelligible name.
Mm-hmm.
In the chat, Lee put Baymouth, which honestly kind of.
And Nabila said Tall Beach. So either one of those two is kind of on the nose.
Oh, let's be on the
It's
nose.
like, but it's not at the mouth of the bay. It's at the far end of it.
Not
the
the
mouth
yeah.
is where it goes out to the ocean.
Gulf Road, because it's like
Gulf
basically
Road.
the closest to joining of the Gulf and the High Road.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay,
nice.
put it in there.
Great. So that means for all of the characters that we're making, your last name is Gulf Road, because that's how names work. So, all right. So that means we're ready to make some characters. So we're on to chapter 6. Back to that for this point. So we have kind of some similar steps here. The first is, concept. Consider the type of character you want to play and that character's overall role in the group of characters that the other players will create, as well as your character's place and role within the comm as a whole. And so now that we've gone through that comm process, I think we have a little bit of a better understanding of like, what do the different casts do, right? And what kinds of things are happening in this comm, which I think it's making the comm building part is a nice element of this. But so just to so you can think of that, but the steps as we follow from there, the next will be to determine your character's use cast, because it does matter, and it's not necessarily only those 5, but obviously like those 5 are like the majority.
If all 5 of us were to make a character, we could potentially have one from each of those.
But I was also just saying there's more than just the 5. I'm just saying it's like but yeah, I'm not going to make one for now. I think we're just
okay.
I think we're in a good spot. This is fun. And so once you pick the cast, you're going to then determine your character's core physical and mental abilities, areas where they're strong or talented or average. Then decide on a drive, choose a couple of improvements, finalize your abilities, and then make goals, relationships, personal challenges, and descriptions. So because we're already at 9:30, do we want to kind of let's I don't want to push people faster than they're comfortable, but let's make this a little bit more speed round than we might typically.
Okay.
My concept is the gruff but charismatic union boss. He's the guy who's been behind a lot of the organization that the Strongbacks have been doing, in spite of a lack of leadership from the leadership cast. And he's not well liked by the leadership, but he's got a lot of influence with the other Strongbacks.
I like the idea of a character that being an innovator. Okay. One of the innovators, because then come up with ideas and such.
Specifically, by the way, if you're looking on page 85 as the actual pages are labeled, not the PDF, the 5 main casts that it's suggesting here are breeder, innovator, leadership, resistant, strongback. For breeder, it's worth noting that there's some material that we didn't read through here that talks about breeders and how that actually works in consent, just because I think the way that sort of usefulness to a post-apocalyptic society is handled in other settings is different than here. Breeders in the Stillness actually have quite a lot of power, and they get to decide who they want to have sex with or whatever. Like they are not like second-class citizens used for that purpose. They actually have a fair amount of control, and they also are the ones themselves focused on, like, population control and like planning, organization and all of that stuff. So worth noting. And then there's also these are just the five most common. There are seven major use casts, but the other two are Guardian and Origin. But there are like specialized ones that we could say are like every com has these 5 at least, but some of them will subdivide, right? Like, because we have so much to do with the water, we could imagine that there's like a subcategory of Strongback that's about like, stevedore specifically or something.
Yeah, stevedore,
Yeah.
fisher.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about the breeder crafter option. Because if you're gonna make people wear masks for an entire season, you have to have somebody that's skilled in making those masks, and even if you're just basing that on leather work, that's a very skilled craft. So I was thinking that is a possible concept, is the crafter who makes the masks that everyone wears. And maybe they're more decorative. Maybe they have decorative embellishments like you would see on maybe the Venetian Carnival masks. They've just been at first they started out with like the plain useful stuff, but that gets boring making it season after season.
Well,
so
not only that, if they all look the same, then
and
recognizing people becomes a little more difficult. So.
So you get like individual families have their own special designs and that kind of thing. So it's a very so I thought that would give like a lot of opportunity to interact with a lot of people, and also to be an integral part of the community.
Yeah.
Beyond just whether or not you're giving birth or whatever.
So as a breeder, you get +1 perception. We touched on Strongback and Innovator, which you would gain +1 strength and +1 intelligence accordingly. There's focuses that you're going to choose, which we'll talk about more in a moment. The specialization thing that it mentions in each of those is in the next chapter, so don't worry over much about that now. Or if you want to, you can look ahead, but those are in chapter 7. Okay, but so we've got a breeder, an innovator, a Strongback.
I'm going to play entirely with type, and I'm going to go for a resistant caregiver.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to play the cleric. Of the village. As I say, completely on type.
Raise your hand if you're surprised.
So I'm interested in pushing on that a little, not against it, but like to uncover its depths here, because what does a cleric mean to you in this setting?
This is one of the people that got trained when we sent off to try to improve our village. This is one, and brought somebody back. This is one of their understudies that's basically like, yes, I want to learn how to help people, and so like when someone breaks their leg, they can, because they're lifting something too heavy, they can do that. And so I'm a medic for the town, because this is a hardworking town. I mean, our strength is 4. Lots of people get injured all the time, and somebody's got to set those bones and keep people from eating the fish when it's covered with algae, and that's me.
Okay, so you chose the caregiver specialization. I know Lee did breeder or crafter. Dove, for your innovator. Engineer. Okay. Well, we established that engineering is one of the comms focuses. It's engineer. I think it's interesting that the book just uses that term, and I think it's more or less apparent, like what it would mean, but it really doesn't ever actually just define it. It's it's engineering, people can figure that out, but it's like, yeah. So did you have a specialization that you picked for your strongback, Nobilis?
A specialization.
Guard, hunter, or laborer?
I think laborer makes the most sense for this guy.
Sure. Yeah. So the laborer, it's on page 101, and you have some weapon training, but also when performing advanced or challenge tests involving physical labor, you add your strength score or the result of the drama die, whichever is greater, to the test's progress for each roll. You can re-roll a failed strength might test, but must keep the result of the second roll. Okay, cool. All right. So, all right. So everyone's kind of got the basic concept, and we've kind of decided on cast. So abilities next is you're defined by 9 abilities. They're scored with a numeric scale from -2 to 4. A score of 0 is considered average. Your character's ability scores are a snapshot of the areas where your character is outstanding, above average, poor, or whatever. The abilities are accuracy, communication, constitution, dexterity, fighting, intelligence, perception, strength, willpower. I like a lot, actually, that fighting is a completely separate attribute. Because you can definitely have someone who's big and strong but does not know how to fight, right? Likewise, you can have a little scrappy guy who doesn't seem like he'd be strong, but he's the one that knows how to take out your knee and then claw your face off, right? It's like it's not always linked in that way. So allocating your abilities, they all start at 0, and you get 12 points. Each point increases an ability by 1. You can't make it higher than 3. You have to give off all 12. The most even distribution gives you 6 abilities with a 1 and 3 with a 2, plus the bonuses from your cast, which so everything starts at 0 except for whatever your +1 from your cast is. So does anyone have questions about how to do that? I don't think we necessarily need to just read through everybody's numbers if nobody has questions about it. Okay, so once you have those ability focuses, it's a little bit like the focuses we had for the comm, right? It is things that it's a more specialized, but it's things that, when it's applying to that specifically, you get an additional +2. And there are different focuses for each of those 9 abilities. So for accuracy, it has, for example, bows, brawling, light blades, staves, slings, thrown. And for intelligence, cryptography, evaluation, engineering, geometry, lore, medicine, navigation, tinkering, trade, etc. I believe, though, this is a list of available focuses. And there are more details about them later. So unlike some things where you can also just make it whatever you want, this one actually is kind of intending to have it be like, no, choose from this list. So, and I think you get, let's see, how many do you get? Focuses, add detail. Your character gains choices of ability focuses during the different steps of creation. Oh, okay, I see. So each cast has, so for example, Breeder says, focus, choose 1 perception focus and 1 from another ability of your choice. And I think everybody's is basically like that, is 1 from whatever your core ability is, and then 1 from something else. So maybe just for fun, anyone want to say what your 2 focuses are?
Intimidation and leadership.
Okay.
Engineering and seeing.
Okay.
Constitution and ability of choice. So,
Notable also, as we discussed, is that sensing is one of the focuses from the perception. Which, if people don't remember, that's that ability to sense like geological activity.
But that you can only use that if you have the origin talents.
Oh, does it say that? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sure
Above
enough.
the example.
Okay, so I guess that's it's what we said is basically like generally speaking, they are the best at it.
Yeah. So I'm picking tolerance and empathy.
Look at that.
I see. I have a good bedside manner.
Great.
Yeah, and I think I would have to do. I'm going back and forth between seeing and touching for a perception focus, and definitely crafting for the dexterity.
That
focus.
makes sense.
Yeah. Great. All right. So, well, once you pick that, the next step is drive. Your character's drive describes what motivates them to act, to say yes to an opportunity. Drive gives you cues for action as a player and provides the GM with hooks to encourage your character to take action. Choose a drive for your character or roll on the drive table for one. And then, while some drives are more common for a particular cast than others, leader for leadership, for example, any drive can be combined with any cast or specialization. And so, like, the lists of drives include things like achiever, builder, director, ecstatic, helper, judge. I think ecstatic is fun. It's just like, life is a banquet and most poor suckers are starving to death. Not you, though, because you aim to squeeze every drop of juice out of your limited time in this world, and you generally encourage your friends to join you, although you're willing to go off on your own if none of them do. So that's just like, these are not just like job categories, right? These are just personalities. What motivates you. So helper, judge, networker, penitent, protector, rebel, survivor, visionary. Those are the lists there.
The one that works best for my character is definitely director.
Okay. So yeah, somebody needs to take responsibility and get things done. You might relish the opportunity to lead or take up the role reluctantly. Oh, and then so each of these gets a benefit too. So for director, you're going to also get you choose one of communication, intelligence. You're choosing a focus. So either leadership or persuasion, lore or trade, empathy or intuition, willpower. Any. And then a talent, you can choose one of command, inspire, intrigue, or oratory, which we haven't really talked about talents yet, but we will.
Okay, I rolled for it and it picked awesome for me.
Yeah.
I rolled on the table and it sent me to helper and penitent.
Okay.
Where you're here to help as many people as you can, and you screwed up, you learned for it, and now you're a humble person.
I think you still pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, your first D6, if you get a 1 through 3, you're on column 1, and then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
4
not.
through 6, you're on column 2.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you're not both.
Okay.
Like you could decide that you want to embody two in your personality, but you only get the mechanical benefits of one.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to do helper.
Okay.
Yeah, so am I. I'm going to go for medicine, under intelligence, and talent and medic, obviously.
Great.
I think I'm going to go with builder.
Okay.
So, and I will take for the focus. It's one of each, one of focus and talent.
No, it's one of that whole list.
Oh, one of everything in the benefits?
Okay. Focus, it says choose one. So everything is listed there under the focus. You get one of those.
Okay.
Not
and
one
also
from each
one
category.
talent.
Yes.
Yeah, and also one talent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay.
Well, all right.
So, I think I'll take crafting.
Okay. All right.
And I think improvisation would be a good talent.
Okay, well, we'll talk about talents in a minute.
Maybe.
So let's keep moving through the systems here. Although, like, obviously, it's prompting us for this, but we'll get there in a few pages. So once you have your drive, the next is improvement, which is you're going to round out your character's traits by improving some of them. choose 2 of the following options. You can choose the same option twice, but the benefits don't stack. So while you can choose 2 ability improvements, you cannot apply them both to the same ability score. So the 3 things you're choosing from: ability improvement, which is increase an ability score of your choice by +1. This can make it higher than 3. Ability focus, which is to gain a new ability focus. Or talent improvement, gain the novice degree in a new talent, or improve an existing talent by 1 degree. And so obviously, so you get to pick 2 of those 3. Do we want to go and look at talents first, if that helps people make that part of the decision?
Yeah.
Okay.
Talents.
So if we move over to chapter 7, there's traits for focuses here, and it has a little bit more detail about each of those listed focuses to know a little bit more like what they're talking about for each of those. And then specializations, you've already chosen one of those, and so it's going to tell you a little bit more about what you get for each of those. All of you are going to be starting with the novice level of whatever those are.
Right.
And then after that is talents, starting on page 101. It starts them all there. And so you can see for each of these talents, there's the talent name, what the requirements are in order to have that talent, and then, the various benefits. So, for example, the improvisation just mentioned, you need to have intelligence or willpower at least 1, either one of those. And then whatever the situation, you're sure you can handle it. Novice level, you can make an ability test with a required focus, even if you do not have the focus. You do not generate SP when doing so, but in investigations, you are always considered to have a tangential focus. And that's a type of scene you can be in later, which we could talk about. But so it's basically, by sacrificing the ability to generate stunt points, you can basically always have a focus.
Sounds really good.
Well, I think the stunt points are also really good.
Yeah.
So like we didn't really get too much into that, but what stunt points can do is actually quite impressive. So I think it would always be like your choice. You can always deal with that. But in any case, yeah. So that's where talents are, if people want to see what those are. And so if you already have a talent, one of the things that you can choose in this improvement section is you could potentially take the talent that you already got from something else and make that, improve it by 1 degree to get the middle one instead of the novice.
The expert, yeah.
Yeah. Has everyone got all of that set?
Mm-hmm.
If anyone has fun details, feel free to share, but otherwise we don't necessarily need to say, I improved my accuracy by 1. That's not as interesting. Okay, and so then finalizing your abilities, you have the secondary abilities. So your speed is 10 plus your dexterity. And that's in yards, and it's the distance you can cover with a minor move action. Your defense is 10 plus your dexterity and is the base number to hit you with an attack. It's interesting that they just calculate those exactly the same way. So like your speed and your defense numbers are always going to be the same.
Yeah.
Interesting. Toughness is equal to your constitution and is subtracted from the damage done to you by attacks before you apply fortune and conditions. Interesting. And then your fortune starts at a score of 20 and is used to improve the character's chance of success as well as avoid harm. And we talk more about that if we were going to move forward.
What was the thing before fortune?
Toughness.
That's,
Toughness.
Toughness. Okay.
Equal to your constitution. And is subtracted from the damage done to you by attacks. Okay, so if everyone has all of that set, step 7 is goals. While a character's drive moves them forward, the character's goals are what they move toward. This one doesn't have a whole lot of mechanics to it. It's just kind of, you should know, like, what does your character want? What is their goal? What is their, when considering goals, try for a mix of at least 2 short-term and 1 long-term goal. So I think people can think about those for a little bit too. But then the next step the remaining steps are relationships and description. So I think let's see, and personal challenges, which I think that's getting a lot more into just deciding stuff, right? Like relationships doesn't have, let's see, starting relationships, your character starts out with an intensity 1 bond with their comm, defined as they see fit, along with additional relationship intensity ranks equal to the character's communication ability score, if it is 1 or higher. Starting out, no relationship can have an intensity greater than 2. So if your character has 3 or more additional ranks to allocate, you would need to definite, like that's a typo, I think. Define multiple relationships. One of these extra ranks can be used to increase your comm relationship to intensity 2. So the way these intensity works is a character gets a free stunt point they can use only for stunts involving or connected to the relationship. And these SP can spend once per session, and only when the character's actions are directly motivated by the relationship. So that's basically the mechanical benefit of having the relationship. So I think it's interesting that your communication ability score, you'll always have at least 1 with the comm, but your communication ability score tells you how many more you can start with. So what is everybody's score? Communication score?
3.
2.
2.
Okay.
2.
Okay. So what that means then is that everyone has the 1 with the comm. You can decide if you have those with any of the others. Because we're getting close to 10, but like we don't have to like stop right then. So I guess I want to just get a sense of like, do folks want to like hang out a little longer and actually sort of work out what everybody's connections are, or do we want to?
I need to put screens off at 10 because of my
Okay.
schedule.
Sure. Okay. Well, we're getting pretty close. So I think that is where the next steps would be if we were moving forward to actually finalize all of this is, you would all take some time to think about like, what are your characters' goals? How do they know each other? What is their prior relationship? Do any of you actually have like like a degree of intensity to your relationship? How intense?
Right.
It's interesting to realize too that the nature of these relationships is you can have someone has an intensity 1 or 2 or even 3 relationship with you that does not have to be
Reciprocated. Yeah.
Because it seems to be all focused on sort of the intensity of your own feeling about it. So that's interesting. Personal challenges seems to be an optional thing, that it would be like, if you wanted to choose to have a physical disability, for example, or something that would give them a social challenge. For example, like if someone was choosing to be a latent or a gene, that would be a social challenge, among other things. And then, so there's just stuff about that. And then, of course, just description. And then that would be how to make characters in this setting. So I like all of the comm building stuff. And we spent enough time on that we're kind of rushing through characters a little bit. But
yeah.
But and if we were to move to do a campaign of this game, it would be, by and large, we would be focused on like, perhaps we would do a new season, and instead of just doing a roll to say, oh, well, this dispute was this or that, or this attack was like this, or this disaster happened, we might actually run that as a scenario instead of just saying, oh, well, the strongbacks did this or that eventually fixed it. We might actually just say, No, let's play to find out what happens.
Let's find out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
That'd
of
be
course, there
cool.
could be larger stories. The book itself has a couple of like one-shot style adventures that you could have with it, and that's without even touching the orogeny ascendant section later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just briefly, maybe just this last little bit. Well, okay, I could find more stuff, but also like, what do people think, having gone through this part of it?
I really like the comm building section. I mean,
Yeah.
building a community for your characters grounds you to that community.
I think really you would if you're going to do a long-term campaign in the system, you would need to have basically 2 session zeros. One for the comm, one for the characters. To really give them time to
Yeah, you might want to do more than
I
just
think
1 year.
This would be an interesting game to play around with, having an actual long amount of time passing. Like imagine having each season and whatever the thing is for that season be like a session. And so 4 sessions means a whole year has passed for those characters.
Yeah, kind of like Burning Wheel and its seasons and stuff.
Yeah,
Or
I like the idea of long-term play where because so many campaigns are like, oh yeah, we played for 3 years and 2 weeks happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like that, it's like a recurring cliche of D&D campaigns where that happens, especially when you start saying how long it feels like it's been, and someone has gone from level 1 to level 20, but then like in the real world, how much actual time has passed? Not very much. All right. So in any case, I think we're at 10. But so I think this was kind of an interesting game, and maybe we'll look at it more in the future.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, and we'll be back for more adventure on so many levels.
So many levels.
So many levels.
Okay.